Astronauts to the moon.
Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1.
Houston, we have a problem.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue.
What you're seeing here is a mirage.
What's going on, everyone? It's Jaron from Jeranism back with another live video for you today. Thank you so much for joining us. It's Friday. That means it's time for another Jeranism Friday Lounge. Not many people in the lounge today, but we'll still move forward. We'll have to see. If it's going to stay at dwindling numbers, well, then maybe we'll have to move on to something else on Fridays. But for now, we'll stick with the Friday Lounge. Today's episode, is called number 2727. And the reason for that is because, if you didn't notice, last week's episode, number 26, is now gone. Thank you to the YouTube police. So they don't even allow my videos to stay up for any amount of time anymore. Also, 19 is gone, 21 is gone, 23 is gone, quite a few RAWs are gone. So they just are deleting my videos now for no reason. My guess is because of the title. I don't know what else could be causing it. So maybe if I just title it like this, number 2727, maybe that'll keep them off my back. I don't put any tags in my videos anymore. So I don't know. Somebody's watching them and not very happy with the information that we are providing. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the show, at least when you get a chance to catch it. Try and catch it when you can, because you never know when it will be gone. What I really would have named it instead would have been number 27, Our Rights, and we'll get into that shortly, why I think that should be the name of today's show. But let's start out with the panel members. First, we have the Dr. Rodrigo Ferrari Nunez. Doctor, how's it going?
Hello, Jaron. How's it going? I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm wondering what's dwindling. Is it dwindling in terms of panelists coming up, or is it people not watching anymore?
No, people are watching, from what I can tell. But when we started this, I remember it was you and I and really Iru, kind of Bob, Austin. We'd kind of all talked about, hey, let's just get together and have a chat. But Iru hasn't been around in a couple of weeks, so I'm not sure where Iru is. And we have no Austin today, which is fine. I get it. But the whole point of the lounge was to have a few people kick back and have a conversation. But if it's down to just me, well, I'll have to change the title of the show. It won't be the lounge anymore.
Right.
You know, Jeranism Friday Lounge solo, sitting solo in the couch. So we'll have to see how it goes. But no, actually, next week we will for sure have a show. I forgot. Next week, Brian Stavely is going to be joining me. So joining us. So at least we'll have,
that'll be fun, because the Mandela effect stuff.
He's gonna have to Mandela me, yes, because
he's gonna Mandela us.
So that'll be number 28. So tune in for that next week. But we also have joining us. Awesome to have him as always. He's been joining me on Monday nights for the past few months for sure, and Rose as well. But today we just have Jason Lindgren. Jason, how's it going?
I'm great, my friend. Thanks for inviting me again.
Good. Anything new in your neck of the woods, in your area? Anything we need to know about? How's it going?
I've just been preoccupied with the whole house thing, but
that's
that
good.
happens when you do
it's
that.
actually good to have something preoccupy your time right now, right?
Yeah. As far as the sort of things people probably actually want to hear about, we've been doing a bunch of law stuff again, and we can talk about that a little bit if you would like.
Yeah, would love to. Good to know that you guys are doing other topics. Seems to be hard to find. I've kind of taken the week off of the news, which, it's so funny because I tell everybody, don't watch the news. Something like this comes, and then I find myself turning on the news in the morning like, oh, what's the latest bullshit? What's the latest nonsense? And just getting back to it this week, I just said, okay, I'm not going to watch the news, and it feels so much better. Of course, I still find things online. Of course, I still see the hilarity going on everywhere. I saw some things on the internet this morning. I saw that what's her name, Nancy Pelosi, she called Trump morbidly obese, which I just think that's hilarious.
Really?
I was like laughing. I was like, what the hell? What does that mean? Like,
it's like wrestling.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like, of all
like
people, I mean, I don't even
You're
think he's
smelly.
Yeah, he's not even overweight. Let alone when I think
He's a
obese.
big dude.
Yeah, but I don't know if I would call him obese, let alone morbidly obese.
No, I mean, he's a little overweight, yeah, but I mean, the guy's in his 70s. Give him a freaking break, you know? It's like
morbidly obese.
You may or may not agree with politics, but name calling? Come on. I mean, that's grade school level nonsense.
It's just all WWE, like you described.
I mean,
Nancy,
to be honest, he does it
glitch.
as well, right? He does it as well.
Oh yeah, right. He fired
names.
right
It's
back
funny
and called her crazy, and she's got mental problems. And It's all funny. I mean, they've all got mental problems,
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, that's because they eat the poop crackers at the old banquets. With, what's that? They do Abramovich.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And then I saw this one today. I was like, no, it can't be true. Biden says that you're not black if you're torn between him and Trump. I'm like, this
What?
guy. Yeah, that's what he told black people. Like, this is
Wow.
really, this is
I
really
don't
going to
think
help
you
him.
have the right to speak for all black people.
No,
Mr.
I'm
Vice
pretty sure
Chair.
Biden doesn't. I'm
Oh,
pretty
my
sure.
goodness.
Here, let's listen to it just because it's hilarious to hear. And oops, I mean, I have to bring it up. Just because it's funny to hear him say. It's like, how well does he think this is going to go over with the black community? That you're not black. I forgot his exact words, but he says if you have a problem figuring out if you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. Let's hear.
At 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Oh, I'm in trouble.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden. 'cause
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community. I would love to see
Take
you.
a look at my record,
I love
man.
he's got to throw the
You have a
ebonics
problem
in there
figuring
too.
out whether you're
Ain't.
for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want.
So that's going to go over real well. It's just all a joke show, really. It's a clown show. It's an absolute clown show. And it's getting to be pretty funny. So that's why you have to turn off the news unless you want to watch some WWE-style banter, which is just hilarious. Just funny. I did
This Biden
see...
guy is incredible.
He's such a joke. He's the worst. He's absolutely the worst. I wish Austin was here because Austin goes off on it.
Yeah.
Really better than anybody. And it's just, it is all just political theater, and you rile up people half against the other half. It's what's been going on for hundreds of years, literally. And it's getting worse and worse, and it's just hilarious to think that this guy, and then it's so funny because they keep coming out. Remember all the polls before the last election? They all said, oh, Hillary leads in the polls by 10 points. Hillary's going to wipe the floor with it. Well, again, the polls are coming out, and they all say Biden is leading by a ton. And, of course, these polls are like asking 600 people in New York, right? That's their poll idea. Let's ask 600 people in New York.
Fritz Springmeier.
Right.
No, that guy. I was watching one of his videos recently, some of his old videos, and he was talking about how the elections were completely rigged way before. The charts were already decided. The final results were decided way earlier, months and months and months earlier. But yeah, that's in his research. So interesting. That was years and years ago.
Well, you don't even really. It's not even something you need to rig because you can just ask people until they give you the response that you want. So, they come out with these polls that this percentage of people are flat earthers, this percentage of people are anti-vaxxers, whatever. But I could just go and ask 40 people, and then if I get that 10 of those 40 are anti-vax, then I can come out with a study and say, well, 25% of people are anti-vaxxers. Yeah. Now, if I'm not happy with that number, then I can ask again, and then it comes back with only 5, or I ask again, and it comes back with 20. But, you don't even need to lie. You can just keep asking a certain amount of people, I think a lot of those guys make phone calls. Right. You don't even know who you're talking to. So it's a joke. I did want to watch this just because I think it's good. And if people aren't watching, and I was going to bring up his video, I might bring it up in a little bit. He's done so many great videos, but if you're not watching the Dollar Vigilante, Jeff Berwick, he's just doing great work every day. He lives down in Mexico City. He just did an expose on, of course, all the news reports saying that the crematoriums are burning day and night down there, and he went down and exposed that not to be true. But he's doing like a daily video where he basically is just finding everything going on for the day in his walk with his dog. It's just a great show. So I'll probably bring up a little bit of that, but he showed this a little bit today, and I thought it was great. This is the kind of thing I need people to start saying. And of course, I don't know if anybody knows this guy, but it's Phil Robertson from Duck Dynasty. I don't know if you guys have ever watched that show. But he's just got some good things to say, and I'm hearing it a lot more, so let's listen to this. And then I want to talk a little bit about protesting, which will be going on tomorrow. We'll talk about that. So if you're in California, get in your car, get on your feet, get on your bike, and let's come out in some numbers. But let's hear what he had to say. It's about a 4-minute video.
The governor of the state comes along and says, shut it down. Shut it down. So just forget the Declaration of Independence, forget the Bill of Rights and just shut it all down because some expert said better shut it down, the plague is going to kill us all. It attacked the nursing homes and the aged. My advice is for everyone, all of you, get together and all of you go to work at once. All of you. They don't have prisons big enough to put you in. Just every last one of you say, we've had enough, pandemic or no pandemic. We'll wash our hands and we'll try to be as careful as we can because this thing here is pretty good, make you pretty sick. But the vast majority pull through. It's not worth shutting the whole country down for month after month after month. We're not going to make it. Let's go back to work. I'm just saying the Declaration of Independence from which the Bill of Rights came from, it's still there. Pandemic or no pandemic. You can't chunk law and order. Some kind of government edict. You say, nope, I'm staying with the Declaration of Independence. I have a God-given right to live, be free, and pursue happiness. But no, we don't believe in God anymore. So we're all telling everybody whether they can go to work or not and shutting down the livelihood and shutting down the economy and saying we're going to do this as long as we want to. These people are Marxist. That's the reason they're doing it. They've brainwashed your kids in these universities, and now we're sitting here saying, well, what do I can't do what? No, you can't go to work today. We decide whether you can go to work or not. Show them differently. Get back to work and don't worry about them. Everybody, all at once. On the count of 3, ladies and gentlemen, we're all going back to work tomorrow. Beginning at 8 o'clock in the morning or 7 or whatever you want to do, and every last one of you go to work. They're not going to be able to do anything about it. They're just going to sit and watch. They don't have enough prisons to hold you. I'm just saying we hold these truths to be self-evident. All men are created equal. They have a God-given right from their Creator to live, be free, and pursue happiness. That doesn't change when you have a pandemic. Not one bit. I tell you one thing, the ones who decide right now that instead of following Thomas Jefferson and his instruction via the Declaration of Independence, if you're one of those that said, well, I tell you what, well, I'm not going to follow Thomas Jefferson. I'm not going to pay any attention to what he said. I don't believe we had a creator. I don't believe we have God-given rights. I don't believe any of that. Well, you're on the wrong side of these things. I'm going to follow Karl Marx. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to follow Karl Marx, Phil, not Thomas Jefferson. I'm going to follow Charles Darwin, Phil. I'm not going to follow Thomas Jefferson. The rest of us, if the pandemic gets us, or if hard work finally kills us, we're guaranteed we could be raised from the dead.
So again, a lot of people will say, "Oh, he's diet woke." He's saying that the pandemic's going to kill us. Again, get over that stuff. It's all right. What I think there's a big difference of, and we'll talk about it a little bit with Dr. Buttar, is there's a big difference when somebody is lying to you versus when somebody just doesn't know. And I always talk about take the good, leave the bad. And of course, I'm talking about when somebody does a video and you don't agree with some things that they say. Now, if you find people that are outright lying, if I tuned into Crow and Jason and found that they were lying to me, then I would just get over it and stop watching their show. But the complete opposite is true. When I watch Crow and Jason, when I watch any of these other channels that I enjoy, they're not lying to me. They're telling me their honest opinion. Do they get some things wrong? Do I get some things wrong? Does Rodrigo get some things wrong? Of course. Everybody does. But we're not here lying to you. There's nothing that I've ever said to anybody that is a lie. A lie means something that I'm telling you the opposite of what I believe or what I think is true, and that's not the case. I'm telling you my honest opinion. And I think even with that guy, he's doing the same thing. Who's Phil Robertson? Of course, he's rich or something. But he's saying, to all of you, to everybody, to get together, to go to work, to say we've had enough. And yes, he's diet woke, but I agree. They don't have enough prisons to hold us all, and that's why they have to depend on the media. That's why they have to depend on social shaming. That's why they have to depend on these threats, these ideas that they're going to come get you. Go ahead, Rodrigo.
Did you see the article that Ben has shared just now? You should take a look at it because it is relevant. Basically, some researchers did a analysis of millions of tweets talking about the virus, and they turn out to be the I guess the majority of them, you have to look at the numbers that they're giving, bots. Some of the most influential one, most of them are bots.
Haven't we always known that though? I mean,
Well,
I've never looked at Twitter and thought that this is all people. In fact, I think most of it is just retweet machines, because what do people want? People want followers, right? So I know you can say, I don't have any of those programs. I don't even really use Twitter anymore. I have an account, but I mean,
never use it.
Yeah, well, you can you can basically have it when this person tweets or when this subject is retweet it. If these words are in the tweet, if this hashtag is in the tweet, retweet it. So I've always looked at Twitter as a huge, vast majority of Twitter is bots. Now, are there some people on there? Yeah, and that's why it's an okay tool when you find the right people. For instance, following the Flat Earth podcast, David Weiss, Twitter. If there's anything on there, it's Dave saying it. So just be careful about which accounts you follow. And if you see just retweeting, and it doesn't seem like a real person, then you can chalk that up to being a bot. Not a bot it's like a retweet machine. These people are just trying to get followers. But I've always kind of thought that. We did get a couple super chats from Rhino. He says, if I see someone with a mask on that is so moist from reuse I can see the perfect shape of their lips and mouth, is it wrong to shout nice camel toe? No. No, it's
Mercy.
Not. You can definitely nice wet camel toe, I would say, if anything. Eric DeLion says, much love to you, bro. Well, I guess it's give me liberty or give me death time. Well, yeah, I just think that the overreach is far and beyond anything that we could have imagined, and I think people need to step up and get out. Thank you, Hendrik Alerts, great supporter of the show. Let me go to a couple websites and just tell people, first of all, if you're in California, well, let me ask you guys first before we get to that. What's your opinion, Jason, on protesting?
On protesting?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, protest.
Oh, way to go, man. I'm all about, I've always felt that this whole thing is completely wrong. If indeed you have a compromised immune system and you are concerned about some sort of illness, I think you're a big enough adult that you can, if you want to call it social distancing, just stay home, stay away from people if that's like a huge concern for yourself.
Right.
I don't think you need to shut down the entirety of the world's economy, or at least most of it, to deal with a flu. So people protesting to say, hey, this is a bunch of BS, I'm all about it.
Yeah, how about you, Rodrigo? I don't know if you see a lot going on over there or if people are not doing that a lot over there, or what's your opinion?
Well, here, protests I haven't seen, but I took a video today of yesterday, I think, the market coming back in the bus just to remember that nobody was wearing a mask. I saw one person wearing a mask walking the street. People were out. And so here it's really not working. And we know people who are not into conspiracies and all kinds of different things are questioning the mainstream narratives, and they are not buying it, the mask. They don't buying the social distancing. And what I saw yesterday walking down the street, I got off the bus, and what I see, they basically put this kind of stencil on the floor in every block with the eagle and a star on it, which looks kind of very Nazi-esque, saying and with a saying maintain social distance 1.5 meters, and it's basically stenciled on the sidewalks all over the city.
I haven't seen that yet here. I have heard that they're putting arrows down and just other.
Send a photo of this.
Yeah, nonsense. It's all ridiculous. I think I showed this on Raw on Monday, but this is a park in New York.
I was just going to point that out.
With the circles.
Ridiculousness.
So stupid.
Welcome to California.
Yeah, it's so ridiculously stupid. God. And again, I totally agree with what Jason's saying, that, people are adults. Well, at least those that are adults. But, they can make their own minds. They can, and this is just a world where it's becoming like you need the government to give you permission to do anything. And that's where they've overstepped their by far. I mean, it's not even close. It's not like, oh, they're being kind of cool about it. No, they've overstepped everything. So
Yeah, you're
it's
being directed by the media and politicians. That's like the lowest quality kind of information you could ever find anywhere, really.
ever, right?
Ever.
And they're completely sold out. They all have these groups that they work for and that they answer to, and constitutions are written to prevent governments from arbitrarily interfering in citizens' lives and businesses. That's the point. And now we have governors and health directors who have been imposing these closures and making up laws and giving regulations, and they've all done so illegally. And we can look at a couple articles that basically spell that out. It's getting to be ridiculous. I don't know. Are you sending me an image or something?
Yeah, I send you a couple images from here, how it looked, what I just described.
And that's great that that's happening everywhere. And I want to talk about the protests going on in California, because California is much different. There's still, a lot of the same orders, not a lot of stuff opening up here. Now, I've heard that around the rest of the country, things are getting better. But again, I'm more worried about this happening again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I showed this on Monday, the pool noodles. You saw that, Rodrigo?
That was the one that set me off on Monday. I remember.
It's so freaking stupid. I can't see straight. This is.
I looked at it. I really didn't realize what was going on until I actually paused.
That's actually.
Now you sit there and put this on your head, and everything will be okay.
Right, you'll be just
No!
fine.
Why not?
It's so stupid. I can't see straight. And I think. I might as well show the other one too, because I think I still have it up from Monday.
Hello, guys.
Iru. There's Iru.
Sorry for interrupt, but I have been here like 5 minutes and nobody said hello to
nobody
me.
saw.
Oh, we didn't see you.
Yeah, I'm start feeling bad, man.
No, glad
Hey,
that you're
man.
Hello.
How's it going, Edu?
Iru, we were just talking about some of the nonsense. I don't know if you guys saw this one. This is the bumper tables at
Yes.
a restaurant in Maryland.
At least you can have your glass of beer or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like a child. It's like a
And at least it's not spherical, man. Everything is plain, it's circular, flat shape.
That's the thing about Iru. He always finds the positive in everything. That is true.
Yeah.
It is a flat
Cool.
plane with a bumper edge, with an Antarctica edge.
Exactly. You can put the flatter image,
And if
Yeah,
if this
that's
person
right.
if this person was a magnetic center, a compass would work perfectly as you went east and west, as you circumnavigated. Right, we know this.
No, but here in Argentina, because I'm start hearing at the beginning when I'm get into the Skype, we have for example, in my city, we have a very, very aggressive type of propaganda to staying home with black type of graphics that says, for example, who make you think you are immune? Get back to your home. But that is the statement. Get back to your home.
It
Or
says
another
that.
one. Yeah, I have here. Let me make my first share screen and
All right.
just very quickly. Supposedly I'm sharing right now. And
why don't I see it? Hold on.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the kind of message that our government, send to the people when you are walking on street. For example, here says something like, "You are."
Connect to,
This, translate,
to-
please.
Are you gonna get your family, sick? I guess contagious, right?
Yeah, contagious your family. Who make you think you are immune? Really prefer to be can you translate it,
To
Rodrigo? If not,
complain, or to lament yourself, than to take care of yourself.
yes, or these kind of things when they put, for example, the typical image that maybe the cigarette industry use that says staying home. He also believed that the COVID doesn't exist. They use
With
the
toe
typical.
tag.
This is for conspiracy guys.
Right.
This type of and
If you don't believe it, then you die. That's what
Yeah.
I mean. Right?
this is the
Wow.
kind of
But
very
I feel
big.
fine.
But you
Yeah,
can't say
but,
that. This is how they've corrupted the whole thing. You can't say that, Jason, because most of the people that have it are asymptomatic. So it doesn't matter that you feel fine. You're still going to kill your grandparents.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, not wait.
Jeez, it's
No, but yeah, it's
ridiculous.
a very very type of aggressive campaign. In my opinion, of course. And this is particular in my city. Maybe in other cities of the country, maybe it's not so aggressive, but you are walking on street and suddenly
Ours doesn't say get
you
back to
start
your
looking
home.
all around you and have this kind of mandatory actions.
Ours say stay home. Stay home. There's all these, I don't know, signs that would have formerly said, like, I don't know, construction zone ahead or something like that.
Yeah.
They're
This
kind
is
of the
said
electronic sides.
staying home, for
Stay
example.
home.
This is staying home. But if you are walking on street, they say get back to
Get
your
back
house.
to your house.
It's like okay, you are out in the street, get back to your house now. And the black, the black and white type of graphic, very, like Orwellian style. It's not something kind that it's just saying, hey man, get back to your home, please. No, it's.
What's that word K-date? Right underneath there, the orange
K-date.
sign. K-date? K-date? What is that?
Yes, staying home.
Okay.
Staying home. Yes, this is when you came from. No, but this is Argentina, but it's not my.
Those are
my
all
city.
over. Those are all over my city. That's the sign I'm
okay.
talking about. But they all say, stay home, save lives.
Wear a mask.
COVID-19.
I've been seeing that one
yeah.
a lot. I get texts and emails or not emails. I get texts from I guess it's like the local
Really?
medical thing. Yeah, I keep deleting them. I probably should have saved them, but because I find them so annoying. But they're saying they always end it the same. Stay safe, stay home, save lives. If you do go out, wear a mask. I'm like,
I got the weirdest. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. I got the weirdest voicemail from PG&E yesterday. Of course, I mean it could be fake. They're claiming to be PG&E, but this is what the voicemail says. I'm just reading from the transcription here. But it says, this is Pacific Gas and Electric Company. We're calling to inform you that we'll be in your area conducting important safety inspection of electronic towers and poles using helicopters and drones. This work is being, so it says, this work is being conducted as part of an ongoing safety inspection for California, performing critical maintenance. So expect to see helicopters or drones very close to the power lines. They will be hovering in the same location for approximately 10 minutes. They will follow all safety and federal guidelines and regulations. If you have questions, please contact PG&E. I've never
that
seen.
sounds nuts.
Yeah. I'm like, please tell me there's going to be drones and helicopters outside. I can't wait to be filming that. I haven't seen that yet, and that was just yesterday I got that voicemail. I don't know if anybody else in California has seen that.
Gonna have to give Alex Jones a call. It's like, hey man, I finally saw the black helicopters.
Right, the black helicopters in the trees. You're gonna be taking your picture. I always thought he was out of his mind. Now I'm like, okay, well, they're gonna be in the trees. So I don't know if anybody else has seen it, but that was an actual phone call voicemail. I don't answer the call when I don't recognize the number, and that was one that I was like, what the hell is this 1877 number? I'm not answering that. So the Level Earther sent a super chat. He says, F trunk, F gates, F masks, F snitches get rewards, F the drone. If you can't think for yourselves, F the NWO. Yeah, of course. And love you guys. So thank you. At least you didn't say F you guys. We got. I'm going
to stop the screen share, but this is another one. You put us all at risk.
Right.
Come back to your house, and the other one is this one. I don't know if the same kind of term, but it said the lie has short legs.
Yeah, lies have short legs and big consequences. Go back to your house.
Yeah,
and like implies what is the lie, right?
Yeah, exactly. What is the lie?
It's shamey, right? It's a kind of shaming strategy as well.
Yes.
Very
weird.
Fucked.
I stopped.
Rhino says we have daily helicopters in our area, even at night. Yeah, I haven't seen them yet, but again, that was just yesterday, so I guess I'm going to be on the lookout for drones. The weird thing is, in my neighborhood, all of our electrical is run under the ground. We have no electrical poles, so I don't know why I got that phone call. I don't know if they're talking maybe around town. I'm supposed to see. I don't know. Have you guys seen any drones ever flying low like that around telephone poles? I mean, around electric poles? I haven't seen that.
Never. No, nothing like that.
No, if they get too close and I have a bat, I'm going to take one out.
I think I've seen that in movies.
Right. Get that
Are we living in the movies now?
we're getting pretty close. I definitely think that we are getting close to living in what seems like a movie. It's getting insane when you have bumper tables and other bullshit going on.
That sounds like Idiocracy to me.
It's so ridiculous. So
that link that I sent you, that looks like kind of like bait click. It says COVID-19 updates, right? It's from it was sent to me today by Stellium 7. It's Swiss policy research. So it's a institute in Switzerland, and it's quite interesting actually. You should take a look at. I mean, just take a look for yourself. But the one thing I thought was one good point is that there's no excess deaths.
No, it's actually less than previous years.
Right. So, and that's a big one. If there's an epidemic going on, you should have excess deaths, right? Obviously. And if that's not going on, then something is really, really, really wrong. Obviously, we know this since the beginning.
Well, they love to throw the numbers over how many less people are dying because of drunk driving accidents and how many less people are dying. You know, so because of all these shutdowns, that's why the numbers are lower. More people are dying of COVID, less people are dying from other things. There's
balances out.
No school shootings to take out, 15 people every other day. Of course, that's what they're going to tell you.
Yeah, it's great. It's great the phenomenon those people were talking about in Brazil. The phenomenon of those people that they go to several shootings, right? There's 4 or 5 of them. They get caught.
What site is this from?
Sorry?
What site is this? You said it's Swiss I've never heard the site. SWPRS?
SWPRS.org. Yeah. I never heard of it.
No, it seems like a lot of this stuff is good stuff from what I can tell. Have you read through these?
Everything, no. I saw that there's lots of references there, and I thought, okay, this is quite they're covering mainstream news, different things, but in studies, I thought it was a good resource for taking
and actually it'll be in the show notes. We can go through some of these because some of them we'll see if anybody's got any comments on it. According to data from the best studied countries and regions, the lethality of COVID-19 is on average about 0.2%. I've heard that number. Again, I'm not a numbers guy. I don't believe a lot of what they tell me, especially when you know that they're getting all these false positives and they're calling every death, even by suicide or whatever, they'll just call it COVID.
One thing I thought about this, remember when they say something like, it gives false positives or false negatives, that is assuming that there is a real positive.
Right.
And that's a problem.
Yeah, of course. And again, you could never even know that to be the case. If there's a certain amount of false positives, then you'd have to test people 6-7 times, even if there is something, like you said, assuming that there is something.
And assuming that what you're testing for is the actual cause of whatever it is that you're saying it is. That's the other problem.
There's no gold standard on the test. There is no, double-blind experiments. Jason, you've had several conversations with Kaufman about that, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. It's a test that's looking for a couple of indicators. It's not literally saying, yes, 100% that's this particular, well, they say virus, but... And
then they multiply out what they find numerous times over, right? So they take like a little small sample and then they...
I used an analogy that Dr. Kaufman actually really liked.
Okay,
and
let's hear it.
I don't know if you know anything about audio stuff and things like that, but when you use something like, say, a compressor, a compressor you can set to squash a signal. Basically, it's an automatic volume control that's used a lot in radio and for vocals and things like that. Yeah. But what you do is, as you're pushing that signal down, you're bringing up the noise floor. So even though you're pushing something down and adding gain and pushing it harder, that noise floor is coming up with it. So if you had a hiss or a tick or something in the background, that is also going to come up with it. So you're going to have that mixed in with whatever the original signal is, and it's actually going to make it worse the harder you hit it and bring up that noise floor. It's very similar to that. So all the crap in the background is going to get all mixed in with whatever it is you supposedly think is there, making it even more difficult. So the more you push to amplify, it's going to be similar to that kind of effect.
Right, and the easier it would be to find something that you're looking for if you've multiplied it out. If you're trying to find the some certain level and then you've multiplied it out, well, then it's easier to find what you're looking for. So again,
it would literally be there's a pool full of red marbles and there's one blue one. Even though it might take you some time to sort through through the red ones to find the blue one, blue can never be mistaken for red unless you're colorblind.
Right.
That's it. Yeah. That's what would be ideal, but that's not what it is.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, it's because everyone shares. In social anthropology, we talk about how there is no the genes that cause behavior, and all this stuff is BS. And we know that in terms of your actual genes or whatever they look at, the nucleotides, how it compares to a total stranger, you're literally the same as anybody. Your half brother is just as related to you as a stranger. So everyone shares his DNA, and I guess that's what Jason's talking about. What happens here is that if you have, it's like everyone's DNA is their frequency range, and the tool they have just narrows the range that they want to pick for. So they're gonna catch people no matter what, and they just change the range to decide with their compressor to define who they're gonna catch. It's literally it's gonna catch. Everybody's gonna get it. Everybody's gonna have it because it's just something from right, the nucleotides themselves.
Yeah, but the United States has the best tester in the world.
You've been listening to too much Trump.
Yes, man, I'm start getting crazy, and my hair start growing very strange.
Yes.
It's gonna grow sideways.
We're the best tests, the world's
Upwards.
best test there ever was.
No, did
There's
you
never been a
see
better
that
test.
he's saying Trump was saying that he's taking the chloroquine now?
Yes,
Yeah.
and not only that. For example, today.
Is that good?
No. Well, not if you are not needed, and I am not advise the idea of taking pills or nothing from the big pharma, but the thing is, right now I was downloaded a video from Fox News with a woman. I don't know exactly the name, but was the woman that made the interview with Donald Trump when he said the first time that they're going to use the military to give the vaccine.
Right.
And that woman in particular, is behind Donald Trump in that charity dinner with Jesuits. So the woman from the Fox News, it's in the same club. And that woman make a live interview with Steve Barron, the guy who studied in the Jesuit schools and belonged to Goldman Sachs, and now is one of the chief advisors in terms of the economic of Donald Trump staff. And they remark the idea that we are bringing back the supply chain from China to United States, but especially the pharma supply chain. So all the strategy from not for Donald Trump, but he's mentioned the hydroxychloroquine because he is in that industry.
Right.
And I share with
He denies it and etc.
He denies to be part of that, but he has I don't know exactly the term in English, but he has family members.
Right.
With stock market. I believe that is the correct word.
Big pharma's involved in all that, in all those guys. I mean, look at
course.
Fauci, and Fauci's
Big pharma run countries.
Absolutely.
Easy as that.
Right. So when you bring that back home, like what he's talking about, you just make the rich here get richer, right? And that's who those guys ultimately work for.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. So I am starting understanding why he's promoted so much times the hydroxychloroquine. Or I don't know how to pronounce, but because he is in that,
Yeah, it's a win-win, right? Because it's like you said, it's all the big pharma. So for every side they win. If you believe it's a therapy, so it's the chloroquine that's going to do it, well, they sell that. If you think it's the vaccine that's going to really do it, then you get the vaccine.
Yeah, but you need to wait. You need to wait until January to have the vaccine. So in the meantime, let's make money with therapeutics. And in fact, Bolsonaro in Brazil yesterday, he tweeted like, if you are from extreme right, you use hydroxychloroquine, and if you are poor, you don't use nothing.
Oh my goodness, he's going crazy. I heard in São Paulo that there have been gangs of Bolsonarists driving cars on the street and shooting their guns up in the air,
and in one of the last type of manifestation, I don't know how when Bolsonaro, the president of Brazil, go out into streets, there was a lot of people from Brazil, moving flags with the Brazil the Brazil logo, but also with Israel flags in that same street party. And it's the same thing with Donald Trump. In fact, they have from 2018, I believe it is, this House Representative. How can you call it? The same thing that when you research for HR 6666, the testing,
the patents,
not the patent. It's from House Representative, something like that, right? It's called
the Library of Congress, or
yes,
or
the Library of Congress. They have one which is 5542, which is forbidden the boycott to Israel. So everything that in the United States that you present in terms of Congress to go against the decisions of Israel is not going to be allowed, because you have the boycott to Israel. That Congress paper is not allow you to go against it, and it's not. It's a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that Bolsonaro, who is supposedly a friend of Donald Trump and follow very, the very strict the type of idea that Donald Trump gives to the public. Bolsonaro replicate the same
tries to
exact
copy
strategies.
Yeah, he has been. I mean, we were talking about this today, that he. I mean, there's a big difference. While in the United States, a lot of people are supporting Trump in what he's doing. Now, of course, I don't know exactly, but there is this whole QAnon thing and whatnot. In Brazil, Bolsonaro is on the down. Like his sons had got caught with corruption. They were laundering money. There's all these other things that he's involved. He's trying to push the military into the country. It's really weird. I don't know. He really wants to be like Trump, that's for sure. But he's just nuts. He's been doing his lives online and singing and chanting, like you're saying, slogans, like you're just saying, like the poor people shouldn't take anything.
Yeah.
It's weird, and people are scared at night in São Paulo now of going out because there's no activity, and so you're sitting duck.
I send it to the Skype chat what I'm talking about the Israel Anti-Boycott Act.
So it's a law.
Yeah, it's like a law. Yeah.
I was just reading through this, and just to let people know, this is a great document, I think. I mean, from everything that I'm reading, and it's totally referenced. I mean, at least you can follow. So it's a good thing to hand out to people. Take a while to read through all of them, but it seems like everyone I'm reading, I'm like, okay, yeah, it seems like what I've been hearing. That up to 80% of all test positives remain symptom-free. Even among 70 to 79-year-olds, about 60% remain symptom-free. Over 97% of all people develop mild symptoms at most. And like I said, all these things reference out to different studies, different websites. Up to 60% of all persons may already have a certain cellular background immunity to COVID-19. The median or on-average age of the deceased in most countries, including Italy, is over 80 years old. Only about 1% of the deceased had no serious preconditions. I mean, that's ridiculous when you hear that. I mean, come on.
It's crazy.
About 1%. The age and risk profile of deaths thus essentially corresponds to normal mortality. In many countries, up to 2/3 of all deaths occurred in nursing homes, which do not benefit from a general lockdown. Moreover, in many cases, it's not clear whether these people really died from COVID-19 or extreme stress, fear, and loneliness. 50% of all additional deaths may have been caused not by COVID-19, but by the effects of the lockdown, panic, and fear. For example, the treatment of heart attacks and strokes decreased by up to 60% because many patients no longer dared go to a hospital. Even in so-called COVID-19 deaths, it is often not clear whether they died from or with coronavirus, i.e. underlying diseases, or if they were counted as presumed cases and not tested at all. However, official figures usually do not reflect this distinction. Many media reports of young and healthy people dying from COVID-19 turned out to be false. Many of these young people either did not die from COVID-19, they had been seriously ill, example from undiagnosed leukemia, or were in fact 109 instead of 9 years old. That's somewhere over there. The claimed increase in Kawasaki disease in children also turned out to be false. The normal overall mortality per day is about 8,000 people in the U.S., 2,600 in Germany, and about 1,800 in Italy. Wait, the normal overall mortality. Sorry, I thought they were saying COVID. I'm like, what? Influenza mortality per season is up to 80,000 in the U.S., 25,000 in Germany and Italy. In several countries, COVID-19 deaths remain below strong flu seasons. I mean, that's just ridiculous. People need to recognize things when they see it. Regional increases in mortality can occur if there's a collapse in the care of the elderly and sick and as a result of infection or panic, or if there are additional risk factors such as severe air pollution. Anyway, I'm not going to go through all these, but it goes on and on. And, some of these things we've brought up many times. How about this one? There's no scientific evidence for the effectiveness of face masks in healthy and asymptomatic individuals. On the contrary, experts warn that such masks interfere with normal breathing and may become germ carriers, leading doctors called them a media hype and ridiculous. Number 19 here, several media were caught trying to dramatize the situation in hospitals, sometimes even with manipulative images and video. In general, the unprofessional reporting of many media maximized the fear and panic in the population. Absolutely. The virus test kits were used internationally are prone to errors and can produce false positives. We saw that with the pawpaw, with the donkey, with everything else. Moreover, the official virus tests were not clinically validated due to time and pressure and may sometimes react positive to other coronavirus, which we all have in our system. I don't think anybody's trying to deny that. Numerous internationally renowned experts in the field of virology, immunology, and epidemiology considered the measures taken to be counterproductive, recommend rapid natural immunization of the general population and protection of risk groups. The risks for children are virtually zero. Closing schools was never medically warranted. It goes on and on. Let's see, NSA, what does it say about Snowden? NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden warned that the corona crisis will be used for massive and permanent expansion of global surveillance. Definitely, there's no doubt about that, whether you believe in Snowden or not. More than 500 scientists have warned against an unprecedented surveillance of society, and that's coming. I mean, I've got an article here. I don't know if you guys saw, but I guess we'll look at that next. But contact tracing is getting to be a joke, and people need to...
And did you see his link to people who are linked to child trafficking, sex trafficking and stuff? There's a company that got a contract to do the contact tracing, I think, in Massachusetts, and they are linked to trafficking. That's what I heard as well. So it's messed up. And yeah, shout out to Stellium 7 for sending me that document.
Yeah, thank you very
this
much.
Morning.
Appreciate that. And this is about the app. I don't know who has an iPhone here, but I checked my phone today to see if this were true, and luckily I still have version, what do I have on my phone, 13.4?
That's what I've got too.
Yeah, update.
A buddy of mine sent me the warnings like, don't do it.
Yeah, so 13.4.
And then he sent me a thing to jailbreak if I did. He's like, if you did do it, use this, and you can manipulate the iOS.
So you've seen that too, that in the update 13.5, right? Yeah. They're going to be.
They can suck my balls, Mr. Garrison.
Right. There is a way here, according to this. Now, again, it doesn't mean that your phone, according to this, and I don't know if it's true, but it doesn't mean your phone will be able to do contact tracing. It's just opening it up the ability for apps. But you can, according to this, turn it off. Again, this is for iOS 13.5, so this is not on my phone. But supposedly you can swipe down, tap privacy, then choose health, and there'll be a button that says COVID-19 exposure logging. It says for now you'll need an authorized app before exposure notifications can be turned on, but then you can tap the toggle to turn the notifications on or off. You can also delete the exposure logs manually at any time at the bottom of the settings. Again, that's not on my phone yet because I have 13.4, but make sure you don't have automatic updates on. Some people
I'm just kind of, it just dawned on me that there is this thing on my phone, and then I click on something called health profile, and it wants my blood type, my skin type, my medical ID. What the heck is this?
Yeah, and I'm looking at it right now. It does say software update. It wants to update to 13.5 and says speeds up access to passcode field on devices with Face ID when you are wearing a face mask. And introduces the exposure notification API to support COVID-19 contact tracing apps from public health authorities. This update also includes an option to control automatic prominence of video titles on group FaceTime. I don't know what the rest of it, but that's all it says about Corona. So basically, it's this screen right here is also on my phone. Yeah, I see this exact thing for 13.5. So
My
two
phone
iPhone alerts
logs
be weird.
how much I walk every day. I'm just figuring this out right now.
I don't
Like,
know.
what
I
is
try to
this?
have all that stuff turned off as much as I can. But again, I just I turn off my phone a lot more now. You know, people have to remember we all got by. Remember the days, Jason? I know you're my same age group. Remember the days where we used to have to memorize people's phone numbers, and if you called somebody and they weren't home, you just left a little message, like, "Hey, is Bobby home?
Great.
No, he's out. All right, can you tell Bobby to call me when he gets back?" It's
I remember that.
We didn't die. It was okay. We didn't need a phone on us every second of
And
every day.
we managed to find people too and get along with them and
Absolutely.
hang out.
Be friends.
You did this crazy thing like make plans,
Right.
And then you
Yeah.
at the intended location. Crazy, isn't it?
How did we
People
do it?
showed up.
Now there's got to be 37 texts back and forth. Where are you going to be? What time are you going to meet me? Are you want to be there early? What are you going to wear? It's just a bunch of stuff that we didn't have to do at all in the past. It was, hey, you want to hang out Friday at 8? All right, I'll pick you up. That was it.
Iru has stepped out apparently, and Karen has joined us.
What's up, Karen? Oh, maybe not.
Hi.
How are you?
Hello.
Are you in the bathroom? Sounds like it. Just saying.
No, I have weird sound settings and I have to fix it. Sorry.
Oh,
It was a great echo, though.
it was good for a second. How are you, Karen?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. Here having a good time. I enjoyed your show with Brian the other night on Dr. Buttar. I'm glad I never mirrored any of his videos. Something just struck me as weird about him. And now because it's so funny, because that whole Desiree Jennings thing, I remember that. And I never remembered that he was the one involved. And then when I saw that, I'm like, holy shit, how did I miss that? I mean, what do you guys think
Well,
about that?
I didn't remember him either, but I totally remember that girl
Oh, yeah.
and all that stuff happening and how ridiculous it was.
So stupid. Do you know what we're talking about, Jason? Do you remember that Desiree Jennings thing? Let me try and bring it up.
Oh, you have to see it. Yeah, I love it.
So I don't know if do you remember this girl acting a fool because she said that we could just watch a little of this video, but it's so funny.
Oh,
Do you remember her?
National
This
Firestorm.
girl?
Desiree
Yeah,
Jennings
I remember
is a
that.
pretty ambassador.
Yeah. So her doctor was Dr. Buttar.
So.
So that's what I'm talking
Exactly.
about. Yeah. So when you find people like that, it's not like, and again, I even heard Brian talking about it. Brian's like, some people are saying take the good, leave the bad, which I've said from day one. But I don't mean that when the doctors are flat out lying to you. This whole thing seems like a setup. Now, I don't know if he was set up and just fell for it. I don't know. I mean, maybe for all I know, he's a doctor, and she came into the office and was acting like that and like, oh, I'm vaccine injured. And he just went on the news to look, and then he was basically hung out to dry. What did you guys say about it, Karen, or do you think he's involved?
No, well, we think he's involved.
Mm-hmm.
He has to know.
Yeah, you would think so.
It sounded like
You would
that in
think
his
so.
interview.
I mean, he's supposed to be this like really extremely highly decorated military guy and very experienced doctor, and you can't tell that she's lying, that she's
Right.
faking it, that she doesn't look like any other person who has dystonia.
Right, and then they
He
caught her.
has to be lying because he makes statements about the way he conducted the treatment and got results in the old interview. So he has to be in on it. And I mean, you see his YouTube channel. He uses as badges or trophies the fact that he's been on Fox or CNN and other
Oh yeah,
channels.
he does love that.
not something to be proud about.
No, I would love to have somebody interview him and ask him flat out what was going on with this Desiree Jennings. Are you still standing behind this? Was this a vaccine injury, or was this meant to make anti-vaxxers look ridiculous? And what was your involvement in it? So I know he's been on a lot of shows. Luckily, I've never shown anything. I mean, I definitely showed the doctors that were the California Bakersfield doctors. And again, were they diet woke? Were they still telling people there's a disease out there? Were they still telling people to wear masks? Yeah, they were. But I thought some of the things they said would wake up some people. But when Dr. Buttar is just lying about this and making anti-vaxxers look bad, and then at the same time he does promote some vaccines, and I'm a big fan of no vaccines. I just don't think it's needed. Your body is meant. Think how amazing your body is at excreting toxins, at getting rid of disease, at fighting off problems. That's what your body's meant for, and your immune system is amazing if you let it do its job. We don't need to be putting needles in babies, as, you know, and trying to get their immune system to go with giving them these diseases, and then it's mixed with all the terrible things that we know it's mixed with. It's insanity.
Yeah, I think that Buttar is a textbook case of controlled opposition, right? Lead the opposition on this one.
Yeah, so I always warn people, just be careful on everything. I mean, we're finding it all over the place. It's that same with the police officers I played, and then finding out that this guy may have quit his job. I don't know the truth. The lucky part is I just hope that it wakes up some people, that some people see that and go, yeah, police aren't doing their job, and if he got fired. But again, you never know with these people. You never know what's coming at you, and it always goes back to anything on the mainstream. I don't know why it's always the case that it just never turns out to be the case.
Yeah, RV did another video on that guy, but I mean, his argument's that when people look to the right and they're speaking, they're lying. It's like, okay.
Does anybody believe if something's pushed on the mainstream? Right. I mean, why isn't Dr. Coffin being asked on mainstream stuff?
Absolutely, totally agree.
Right, exactly.
And that's why you can't. I mean, it's just like you can't trust Trump. I mean, people say, "Oh, Trump's doing all these good things. Trust the plan, this and that." If Trump were who we think Trump is, why isn't he talking about 9/11? Why isn't Trump, exposing space fraud? Why isn't Trump, talking about some of these other cases? I mean, things. It's just not. He's just not. He's just there playing a role. And again, does he say some things that might rile up one side and make appease others? Yeah, of course. That's kind of the point.
Oh, they play the game. Yeah,
right.
They play the demagogic game, controlling the people.
Right.
It's feeling what's the numbers in different kinds of issues, and then putting their finger on those issues and making cases to then coup the crowds. If you believe that the elections are actually elections, right? If you think that they're not decided beforehand and the whole thing,
they're
even
decided
to that level.
They're decided beforehand because they know the two people in the election. Now, whether or not your vote actually counts, I don't think they really care. It's the illusion of choice, right? I mean, it's you have to drink Coke or Pepsi. I don't think Coke or Pepsi really cares, at all. They're just like...
You know what I find fascinating in the United States, American case, the campaign. It's such a grueling thing. Like, they go on whole
That's
year.
all they do.
Everyone has
That's
to
all they
watch
do. That's
it.
all they spend their money on. It's just ridiculous.
No, what are they doing in terms of work? How do they get any work done? Like, is it just a theater and people just watching these things?
Yeah.
And I get it that the debates get to be, people calling each other out and people laugh, and it's just circus.
It's just circus. Let's watch just a little bit of this so people know what we're talking about, because maybe people don't. But if you want to watch a good show, I think that was it on Karen's channel or Brian's? It was on Brian's, right?
Yeah, well, both of us have it on our channels.
Okay. Yeah, they did
I took the live stream and I cut it down. I made it a little bit shorter.
Okay, cool. So
who was that guy, Karen, that you shared the video who was looking into this? Who is that guy, the original guy who looked into that and exposed Buttar?
I think it was this video that
This guy.
Jaren's got up, the TM Films. That's the
TM
one
Films.
that...
I'll just show it a little bit because I want people to make sure they remember Desiree Jennings. And I don't remember how long ago this was, but I remember seeing this and just being like, oh my God, who's believing this? Look how bad this is for...
That was a couple of years ago.
This was about 10 years ago.
Right. So let's watch this a little bit.
Alex Jones had that one on quite a bit.
Squad,
of course.
Claimed she developed a rare neurological disorder called dystonia after receiving a seasonal flu shot, causing dramatic spasms and slurred speech.
I mean, come on. If you don't know this is a joke, give me a break.
Go sideways.
Yeah.
Well,
What
I
made
sincerely
the
hope it
story
is, because
so
that looks rough.
startling is that her symptoms seemed to disappear when she walked backwards or ran.
Yeah, I can talk now.
Back in October, Desiree and her husband told me
my
they
God.
worried they'd never find a cure. But look at Desiree now. We found her walking normally,
Oh,
playing with
miracle.
her dogs, going shopping, even getting behind the wheel of a car and driving. Hard to believe
She
the woman
okay?
we've been discreetly observing over the last few weeks is the same woman we met during the height of the flu shot scare.
I mean, even this
We wanted to
even this
ask
reporter
about
knows
her
it's a joke. It's
remarkable
all just...
improvement.
Has anyone ever put that to disco music?
Right.
I'm
You got me
sorry.
getting
Later in
ideas
the
now.
video, they do.
Well, I wouldn't say complete recovery. I still have a lot of cognitive issues.
So what happened?
Now speaking a
Did
different
Desiree Jennings really
accent,
suffer a
too.
1 in a million reaction to the seasonal flu shot, as she says?
So again, if people don't remember the part
it was
that's...
because
Oops, wait,
of the
maybe I missed the...
dystonia.
All right, don't catch me driving because I don't think I'm supposed to be driving.
Yeah, then like all in the same video, she has an Australian accent, then she goes from not having accent to walking sideways.
Right. And again, this is supposedly her injury from a flu vaccine. So just think of the psyop played here on people, where they turn out this is clearly false, and they find her walking in a parking lot, and then it just makes anybody who thinks badly about the flu vaccine to look like a nut job. Well, then we find out that her doctor, and then I saw his face. I'm like, oh my God, I remember that being him. I remember looking him up. I remember looking him up thinking like, this doctor's got to be a joke, and searching for him. And I just didn't remember when I heard Dr. Buttar's
Virginia
name.
native is not only able to smile, but she can walk again. These simple steps seemed impossible nearly a month ago when we first...
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
There's Dr.
pretend to be
Buttar.
explaining something to her. Okay, great. Thanks, Buttar.
Whatever's in her shouldn't be in her.
Actress Jenny McCarthy's found
Unbelievable.
in touch
Part of the whole freaking hoax and psyop here.
with Dr. Rashid Buttar outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. He's a
Unbelievable.
controversial physician who practices preventative medicine.
I remember searching his name to see if, like, is this guy really a doctor? This seems like it's all fake. Again, was he involved directly in this? I would love to have somebody ask him, just see what he says. I wonder if he still stands behind it. Like, nope, she was really injured by it. I wonder what he says.
To get that bluish, purplish tint because she couldn't get air.
Do you understand that every word that's coming out of his mouth right now is a total fucking lie? Every word means nothing because it was all staged.
Right.
There was no reaction to the flu shot. There was no curing of her. Do you understand? This guy's totally busted. He's a fraud.
Twice I looked at my head nurse like, I think we got to call EMS.
24 to 48 hours later, Desiree was stable. And when we...
1st September, I knew my health was getting very bad.
Oh, boy. I mean, have you ever seen a bigger acting job in your life?
My diagnosis of her is
She doesn't have trouble doing her makeup, though.
No.
Exactly.
Did that perfectly.
She's not poking her eyeballs out.
established as of Friday.
And that's a result of the flu shot.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
she was showing symptoms from a number of different conditions.
Wow, let's hear that again.
I've never seen worse acting either. It's just terrible.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
He says she was showing...
Without a doubt,
Wow,
he says.
people.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wonder if he's still in
There's your
Charlotte
truth.
and if I can find him.
He's a local.
I think
Charlotte
he's-
is less than an hour from me.
He's all over the place right now. You'd think you'd just be able to send him an email and ask him to have him on your show. He might come on, Karen.
Oh, I could try.
He might just come on because I think he's one of those doctors right now that's loving this and is like, okay, I'll go on
I
any
don't
show.
know. I might have to take my video down that says he's a fraud.
Maybe he wouldn't even look at your channel first. I don't know. Wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, I mean, oh boy, it's just so bad.
nutrients. Dr. Buttar believes with rest and continued treatment, Desiree will fully recover.
We'll hope so, but
Oh God.
Desiree has received a
Look at, yeah, can you guys walk up all the way to the camera and then stop right in front? And yeah, pretend to have your fake conversation because we're gonna show a little of the audio. So just pretend to have this conversation.
She's so fake.
first brought you her story, but with that has come naysayers, many who say this was an act.
What do you say to that when people say, oh, you're making this up?
how can you say it's a hoax unless you've talked to me and you've actually examined me and see the pain and suffering I've gone through?
What is with the voice?
Why would anyone, especially me, want to create a hoax like this?
Now she feels like...
Because you get paid?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Too
Exactly.
funny. So anyway, if you want to watch Brian and Karen tear that apart, check out both their channels for that. And also, this video will be in the description. It's by TM Films, where he does a good job of exposing this. But yeah, it's just some things we just missed. It's another thing that I just missed. And luckily, I never promoted Buttar. I was talking about, hey, there's some doctors out there, Shiva being another one, right? What are your guys' thoughts on Shiva, Karen?
Oh, we think he's just basically doing everything for a self-serving purpose at the very least, trying to get into office, which is sketchy.
Right.
I mean, we all know that politics is all bread and circus anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So just the fact that he's trying to do that. Plus, he used to be married to Fran Drescher, so he's definitely linked to Hollywood. I don't know.
Brings new meaning to the term "sleeping with the enemy."
Right.
Absolutely insane. Yep. So that's good to know about him, and just really just reminds us to keep our eyes open. You never know who's out there, who's doing what are their underlying reasons, or it's just crazy. And just stick to those that at least give you their honest opinions and the truth, and not somebody who is part of a complete and total fraud hoax.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit.
And
folks.
then there's that.
Bad for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. And then there's that whole fake, beef that goes on between Dr. Shiva and Dr. Buttar. I don't know if you've seen that. Supposedly they don't like each other. I mean, it's just so ridiculous.
Calling each other frauds.
Right.
Huh, that's interesting.
Again, we were talking about that earlier, right? It's
divide
all
and
this
conquer, right?
WWE style, wrestling style,
exactly
cartoons.
Oh yeah, brother, you know you're the wrong one. You know it. Oh yeah.
Shiva, I'm gonna rain down on you with elbow drops you've never seen before. It's coming. So
People's
funny.
elbow.
Yeah, there you go. The people's elbow. His finishing move is called the immunization. It's really great. And the other guy's is the flu shot. Oh, it's a massive elbow drop. Cinnamon Bear says, PG&E flew so low in our neighborhood, I was able to spray the helicopter with my garden hose. Now, see, I don't know if that's are you being honest? Or is that a joke?
High pressure.
PG&E flew so low in our neighborhood, I was able to spray. Do you mean the drone or the helicopter? I really doubt you sprayed a helicopter with your garden hose, but I could be wrong. Next time that happens,
the downdraft from the blades would prevent that from happening.
Maybe they're using a fire hose, Karen. You don't know. Well, it does say garden hose. Never mind.
You get to drink from the fire hose.
Suppa Bill says, thanks. Appreciate that. Level Earther says, thanks to denial, I'll never die. Thanks, Rona. Yeah, exactly. Commenting on Iru's presentation, I'm sure. Cleary says, have a drink on me. All right, I'll do that. And Interviews 723 says, saw a report on the Michigan flood that was all about phony corona. Without video of the flood water, you'd never have known it was about anything else. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Some dam broke, right? I don't know. I hear reports of 10,000 people had to relocate. I'm like, I don't know if that's news. I don't know if that's national news. I live in a town of I don't know what's here, 60,000 people. If 10,000 of these people needed to relocate because a dam broke, I don't think that's Merced news. That's city news. I don't know if that's nationwide.
When the
news.
dams break in Brazil, it kills thousands of people and destroys massive areas. That's happened before. It happened last year. It's a terrible disaster there.
Well, I've seen the dam too. Like a little section of it just broke, and I don't know. People had time to get. I don't think anybody's died, but I could be wrong. I haven't been watching the news, so I don't know if people died there or if they're saying people have died there. I don't really know. I don't know, but I wanted to talk about this real quick just because I think it's important. Again, I'm going to be there tomorrow, so I'll be live streaming again as the cops, I'm sure, try and get rid of us, but talking about the California protests, there's a couple sites you can go to. This one's wehaverights.com. That's more for California. Click on find a protest near you. Give it a second. And then, so there's going to be protests in Los Angeles, Huntington Beach, Ventura, Sacramento, San Francisco, and San Diego. So I'm going to be in Sacramento. So that's the closest one to me. So we're joining with other groups in California, Sacramento, Saturday, May 23rd. That's tomorrow at noon. This one's called Liberty Fest, 23rd of May. Music, celebrate, tailgate, high noon. So basically that's, and if you want to go somewhere else. But I'm just a big fan of protests. I think it's one of the last things we have left that you're able to do. Get out and voice your objection to what's going on. If you think it's better just to sit home and stay in your house, I disagree with you completely. I don't think you're helping anybody. And I'm not talking about people who make videos. If you make videos, you're doing your part. If you have a podcast, you're doing your part. Even if you talk to your neighbors, you're doing your part. That's why everybody here that makes videos, that talks about this stuff, I would never say anything bad about anything that you guys do, because it's all part of the bigger plan to get this out to as many people as possible. But if you're just somebody who's doesn't have anything going on tomorrow and you live in California and you live close to any of these places, or even, I mean, for me, it's still a 2-hour drive, so it's not like I live incredibly close. But again, if you live close to Los Angeles, click here and find out that May 23rd at noon, and then where it's going to be. Where does it say? Los Angeles, California goes to the Capitol in Sacramento. What? Okay, now this doesn't help because it doesn't tell me where it's at. I'll have to look up where in LA. Oh, maybe click here. Liberty Fest, California. That should tell you where to be. Let's see if San Francisco tells you. It's not very helpful if they're not telling people where to go. Let's see.
I just want to say, Jaron, thank you for validating me staying in my little bubble and not going outside ever.
Good.
Even though I really could if I wanted to.
Well, no, but you do a great job as is. You know, we don't need you out and about. I like to get out. I thought it was awesome last time. It almost felt like kind of like the Flat Earth Conference, where it's just a bunch of like-minded people. Everybody there celebrating freedom, trying to voice their disagreement with this, and I'm hoping it never happens again. And I just think if there's only 500 or 1,000 people there, yeah, that's great. I mean, there's going to be, and I'm sure there will be 1,000 people there. There was well over that last time. But I also think if there was 5,000 people, if there was 10,000 people, it would just show so much more strength. Now, I'm having trouble with this site because I'm not finding...
It's interesting that what you're talking about, Jaron, that has been studied in anthropology. A lot of people look into this. There's books talking about this thing called comunitas. They call it comunitas. It's a term from Victor Turner and his wife, who died at 90-something years old, Edith Turner. I think she has a book on comunitas. She studied that feeling of community that transcends the constrictions of the law that might happen when you get together with people and realize there's this resonance that happens between people. So people connect the notion of resonance with this feeling of comunitas. And it's something that different protests, that's why when people look at social movements and protests, they find that the people that participate tell those stories, to have those feelings because of that communal experience and what it means and how important it is to actually come together and how that marks that experience for everyone, right? So this is what they don't want. That's why the social distance, right?
Well, it's just because if you're sitting at home and you're complaining, and I think we should open, and you're by yourself, it's a totally different feeling than when you get out there and see you're not alone. It's such a different feeling, and it's important to other people to see it. That's why I live streamed it last time. I'll live stream it tomorrow because I want people to see it, whether they're at home and they're thinking, okay, maybe last time they saw it, they said, oh, that's something I would have really liked to attend. Because we have to tell them that we're not going to stand for bullshit. And I think that, we're running out of ways to do that. Now, granted, I make videos. I do little podcasts. I do my show on TFR. But I think this is another thing you can do. So if you're in another state, just to let people know, you can go to openthestates.com. Up at the top, there is this showing? Oh, yeah, there. Event calendar, and you can click on that. Now, not every state is doing, at least the way I've been able to see it. So, like today is what, 20? Oh, so yesterday there was one in North Carolina. Today there's one going on in Seattle, so you can kind of go day by day. So tomorrow, May 23rd, bars are essential, virtual ride to reopen. You can click that if you want to find wherever that's at. Overpasses of America Trump rally is going on somewhere. Here's the Sacramento fully open California, the one I'll be going to. Lafayette Rolling Rally, Liberty Fest, which I think is the same thing that we just talked about, and all over California. Open New York and Nassau County. And then just go whatever date. So it's a good way to find it. You can also click forum and then click your state. So it's a pretty good site. Some of it's kind of hard to understand. I tried going there the other day. So here, the forum, it looks like it's changed a little bit. Here's general discussion, events, news, my state. So again, you can click here, find your state. So if you're in Nevada, let's say, go down here to Nevada. Click it. And then there should be, here's groups in Nevada. Find the leaders, Nevada nationwide protest. So here's a protest probably for, oh, that's the one for May 1st. So you'll kind of have to look around. It's not set up too great, but that's openthestates.com. And I'll be live streaming that tomorrow, probably at 12 noon. So tune in, check it out, and I'll try not to be arrested.
Is it far from you?
It's about a 2-hour drive for me, a little bit more. But I'm going to go there. Should be a nice day. And this way I can use my signs more than once. I'll bring the same signs I brought last time. Maybe a few others. But hoping the same thing that happened last time. And I'm going to do a better job of showing. I'm going to get there a little bit early and just show that it's completely peaceful. That there will be nothing going on. Nobody's going to be crowding the steps. Nobody's going to be doing anything bad. I'm going to make a point to show that. And then show that the police will show up. Because I'm assuming it's going to be the same thing as last time. That what they can't have
is the same place.
Same place, yeah. Capital. It's the capital of California. It's Sacramento. That's where the Capitol building is. It'll be on the steps there. And I'm assuming it'll be the same thing where they can't have too many people. You can't have people like me. Everybody there was on their Instagram, people on their Twitter, whatever, doing Facebook Live. So you can't have too many people see that because too many people will start to show up. So the police has to show their force, even though nothing is going on, even though it's completely... I'll even show there won't even be people standing in huddles. It's not like people are playing football on the grass or something stupid, because they're going to make some excuse like they did last time that people are standing too close, people are going to get everybody sick. The police just has to show their power. That's what they're going to do. So the police will show up. Yeah, absolutely. The police will show up with riot gear and push people off the steps for no reason at all. So I want to show that it's going against every right. I mean, how can you have a right? Like our right to protest, if the right can just be taken away by the government saying, today you don't have a right to protest.
They'll just say that you have a right to protest, and then they'll do that kind of crap anyway.
Yeah, it makes no sense at all. And how do you know when you stop being, you're now at the hest of whatever these guys say? It's because of things like this. Mm-hmm. This is your proof.
Yeah, some people believe that that the virus justifies these so much danger that it justifies these extreme measures.
Yeah, that's the problem. So they think that just because the government says there's a virus going around, that all of a sudden the government can overreach in every possible way. And then you have people clamoring for it, which it has, and they're going to even go further with contact tracing and everything else. This is exactly what they want. The whole world is becoming a police state. That's exactly what's going on. So I'm going to stand up for it as much as I can, and hopefully others do as well. So if you're in California, I hope you come out and do that. So, or if you're in another state, you might have to look for it a little bit. I'm obviously haven't been looking for all the places I can find in other states. I've just been looking at California. But again, you can look at openthestates.com, or I'm not on Facebook much. Karen, are you on Facebook a lot?
A bit. I have been more here lately.
Is there a lot of people talking about protests? Have you seen that a lot or not really?
A little bit. Okay. Really not very much, to be honest. But
yeah, I haven't seen it.
I might not be the right person to ask.
I'm certainly not, as I try and stay away from FBI book as much as possible.
I usually just share videos and I just try to post information there mostly.
Yeah, I think speaking of bots, my Facebook is on a bot, which is every time I post a YouTube video, it posts on my Facebook. So that can be considered a bot too. But
yeah.
Another super chat from Joseph Paul says the masked chloroquine twins.
What does that mean?
I don't really know.
I mean, maybe that's Trump and Bolsonaro.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah, Trump finally put on a mask because the media got to him. He had to do it. How dare him not do it?
But I've got the best mask.
What mask do you have? I have the best mask. So anyway, one more time. WeHaveRights.com. That's for California protests, and OpenTheStates.com to check your state. But come out tomorrow. Come to Sacramento. Come to LA. Come to San Diego. Come to San Francisco. If you're not doing anything, and if you're not running a show like Karen. Karen, I'll give you permission to stay home.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No, it's insanity out there, and it's getting gross here. I mean, I'm in California, so again, this is my problem, is that I keep acting like what's going on in California is going on all over the place, and I'm even hearing, Rodrigo just said at his market there was only 2 people wearing a mask. I don't know when I would ever expect to see two people at the market wearing a mask. I dare say not ever. Now, could be completely wrong, but in California, I mean, right now...
It's everywhere now. Is it?
Yeah.
Is that how it is?
In California, absolutely.
It's not that bad here. I mean, there's more people wearing masks, but it's not really still not as bad as what I've been hearing from other places like California and New York.
And you know what I heard from Malaysia, because we have a friend from Malaysia, a composer student, and she was telling us that that you have to, in order to get to inside the supermarket, they have to test your temperature and you have to scan something that says that you can pass and so on and so forth. And people think that's great as well. They're like, oh yeah, that's why we don't have so many people sick. But it's all this kind of to enter. Imagine if that was the case now, they could push that here, or for you guys next, but they there.
Well, you certainly need to they certainly take your temperature before you get into any hospital or doctor setting. Did you have that as well? Have you had to go to the doctor recently, Jason? I thought with Rose. Did you say you did? Or no?
Well, in March, when she was in the hospital, that's when all this was initiated.
Okay.
So at first they were just being really strict on like the amount of times you could be there and only one person visiting. And then the last day that she was there, they started taking the temperatures. And I laughed at them and said, how effective is that? I could have just had a cup of coffee.
Right. Yeah, no.
And
luckily,
the ladies laughed and said, yeah, we know.
Yeah, luckily Miss and I have moved on to midwifery care, so we're not at the doctor's anymore. But we went about a month ago for the last appointment that we were doing with the doctor, and yeah, they took both of our temperatures before we walked in, and they ask you all the important questions. Have you been around anybody with COVID? Have you had any symptoms? Are you feeling sick? Have you had the flu? But again, with contact tracing, they won't even need to ask those questions anymore. They'll know exactly where I've been.
I started saying no to every question. That was like, I'd walk in the door, it's like, I know you know who I am. The answer is no.
No. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. So I'm glad that I don't have to do that anymore, but it wouldn't surprise me if that comes to California where you've got to take your temperature to go into a store. And where did you say that's happening? Yeah, I missed
Malaysia. Malaysia. And it was like whether or not you're being checked to have COVID or tested, then you can get into the supermarket or not. And you have to have a card that says you're being tested. I think that's the deal there.
Oh, my God.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, no, here, and again, I do point out that so far, nowhere that I've gone has forced me to wear a mask, other than Costco. But at Costco, I just say I have a medical exemption, and they say, okay. Now, again, walking through Costco, do I get some looks from some people? Yeah, but I've also had people come up to me and ask, how did you get in here without a mask? I said, well, I told them I have a medical condition. They go, okay, good, we'll try that next time. So
did you see? Me and Ted went to Costco and we didn't wear masks, and we walked in and I took a picture of us. I'm all, look, let's take a picture of us in Costco with no masks. And there was this woman in the background looking at us that I noticed later. She has a mask on and her eyes are so angry. You could tell she's just like
burning a hole through you.
How do they not have a mask on?
Well, that's the thing about
because we're not retarded,
right? And I think that's the thing about California people is that I think a lot of them don't want to be in there with masks, but they've been told they have to, right? I mean, you're going to get socially shamed. So when they see you, I'm wondering, are they looking at me because they're like, why isn't that guy wearing a mask? Or are they looking at me like, oh, I wish I was like that guy who's not wearing a mask. I wish I had the cojones to not wear a mask in here. But when Costco demands it, but everywhere else, Target has said something. But I've seen videos of other people, and they go and they just sometimes have to have a conversation at the door. Again, I keep pointing out, I think that's important to do because you're taking one for the team. If you stand there and wait and have them call their manager and have them call upper management or have to call the police, whatever, they end up finding out that, oh, you can come in because you have a medical exemption. So, again, I guess there was some video the other day. Was Dave Weiss talking about it? Did you guys see it where some guy got kicked out of Costco? I never saw it.
I didn't see that one.
Oh, yeah, you didn't either. But Dave was saying he thinks that might have been true, but the guy was kind of in there being a jerk and didn't. I don't know. I don't know much about it. I can't even speak on it because Dave was talking about like he saw some video. Karen, you don't know what I'm talking about?
No.
Yeah.
I don't. Sorry.
Neither do I. That's good. Bring up things I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, talk to Dave about it.
It happens to us all.
Yes, talk to Dave about it. I just am not worried. I think people need to stand up for how they truly feel and stop letting everything happen to them. That seems to be the case everywhere. It's just people will allow this to go on and will just never do anything about it, and then you wonder why freedoms are taken away. Next time this goes on, which a lot of people think is coming up later this year, maybe in the future, but it's going to only get worse. It's just 9/11 all over again. Anybody, any comments?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is what we've been fighting against this whole time, isn't it? What are they going to institute, and what are we going to take back once this thing is supposedly over? Oh, well, you don't get to do that because it's going to happen again in the fall.
Right. Joseph Paul came back and said the masked chloroquine twins are wrestling characters. Good. Thank you, Joseph Paul.
Yeah, we see, like we can reminisce, growing up, you guys, and with the kind of technology that was around and how different it was and what kind of quality of life you used to have and compared to what you have now. And, that tells you, and then you look into these world events, the wars. And when I grew up with the war in Israel, right, every day, Palestine and Israel on television every day in the 80s and 90s. Right. Later, you get the different kinds of terrorism strikes, the whole boogeyman, different kinds of boogeyman to keep you scared and at home. And then the events that change things because they instill so much fear that then you have these measures that people end up accepting that make no sense. And then in the case of the United States, they go farther and farther away from the core of the Constitution, as we've seen. That's anybody can tell that. Right. And, the more they move, I was just reading today a little bit of Brave New World, and it's all in there. It's insane. It's very similar to what's in that book. So they're going through this kind of playbooks little by little. They think they're going to get there. But, I don't think so. Right? I don't think people will, even with the, and I have to have faith in people. That's what, but that's how I feel though. I can't just be totally hopeless. I think there's something good about this, people being tested and so on. But on the other hand, you get this, I don't know, it's an opportunity to wake people up. I think that's happening here. At least that's what we see from just talking to people we know that, like I said in the beginning, not really attuned to, looking at how the government's lying and NASA and all these other things that we know. And they are not taking this. They're not having this. They're not having the mask. They're not having the social distance. But yeah, the idea is to just change the way people live and imposing things that are completely insane. They're turning us back towards, the Gestapo period or Russia. Yeah, during the KGB or whatever.
So Dave sent the video, I guess. This is what Dave was talking about, so I haven't watched this yet. Let's watch and see if I even think it's real.
Follow our Instagram feed, mostly locals.
Hi everyone, I work for Costco and I'm asking this member to put on a mask because that is our company policy. So either wear the mask
and I'm not doing it because I woke up in a free country.
Have a great day.
So you're going to take this car from me.
Sir, have a great
Dave, I have to mention real quick. I'm going to see this again. Is this guy wearing a NASA shirt?
It's a NASA shirt.
He does have it. Now, it could be a fake NASA shirt. I can't really see. I'll have to keep watching. Already, though, I'm not liking the NASA
in a free
shirt.
country.
So that isn't what you need to say. That, when you go into Costco, I've never walked in and said, and they said, you need to put a mask on. And I said, well, I live in a free country. It's just, I don't think that's going to work. You have to kind of get around some of these things. I don't think Costco has to serve you. It's especially their membership kind of thing. But you can just say you have medical exemption. That's going by the law.
Have a great day.
So you're going to take this car from me.
Sir, have a great
full
day.
Of stuff.
You are no longer welcome here in our warehouse. You need to leave. Thank you very much.
You put it on. I'll give you my card. He's going to take the card away because he's a bitch. There he is walking in with all my stuff. There he goes. Because I'm not a f***ing sheep.
And he was even with his wife with a mask on? I don't know. Anyway, I have not seen anything like that. But, again,
all right.
I will let you know if that ever happens to me. But, again, they're really on thin ice if you say you have a medical exemption, because if they then question you about that, well, if you really have a medical exemption, you can sue them. Now, in my case, that wouldn't be the truth. I can say I have a medical exemption. I don't want to get hypercapnia or hypoxia. But at the same time, if I'm going to sue them, I need to first go to a doctor and get a real medical exemption. But I think my wife being pregnant is a medical exemption as far. I don't want her breathing in her own, carbon dioxide. Sorry.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's my, that's just the fact. I don't want her having a hard time breathing. She should be able to breathe freely. So again, it's up to people, but you just can't cuck. That's the problem. And I bet you there's so many truthers out there that have done it. I mean, there's so many. And I understand, because it's a pain in the ass. Now, it's like, oh, shit, we got to go to Costco. Here we go again. I understand it. But you can't cuck. You can't just say, I'm going to. And I think a lot of people are doing that. And it's this is exactly what we've been talking about. It's the social shaming. It's the media in your head. The media has convinced you that this is important, that you are doing your part, that you're saving lives. And again, it's up to each individual person, too. I'm also not telling people, if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. Have fun. Enjoy yourself.
New hashtag can't cuck.
Yeah, don't cuck. Can't cuck. Don't do it. Please don't do it. So that will be in the show links as well. If you want to see that video for whatever strange reason, you can do it. But I haven't seen anything like that. I don't know anybody else that's seen anything like that. But again, if you go into Costco and call the manager an effing bitch, probably not the best way to stay in there. I don't know.
Well, hostility is usually going to get met with hostility.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's just the bottom line of it.
Yeah, you can't call people
true.
names and expect them to be like, all right, Sarah, continue shopping in our wonderful establishment. It's just probably not going to work.
Well, it's kind of like it's their place. They could throw you out without the COVIDiocy being involved.
Right. Exactly. That's what I was trying to say, is that they don't, it's not like they have to serve you. You have a right to shop in Costco. Not really sure that's the case. I'm a big
I don't think it is.
No, I'm a big believer. I think you should be able to serve whoever you want too. I don't, if I don't want to do business with somebody, I should have every right to be like, I don't want to do business with you. Period.
Now he could have really messed up and said, "Are you discriminating against me because I'm gay?"
Right. Now there you go. Then the guy would have been like, "Oh shit."
There you go. Start
now?
playing the SJW cards against them.
Right. Did you guys see this video?
Yeah, I think it would depend. I think just not giving service wouldn't be discrimination, right? Or unless you
Oh yeah,
that,
how about that whole cake?
No,
that's a few years back.
Yeah, was it? Yeah, wasn't that like that's a big deal in the States, right? That people were. How was that? Like Jaron was talking about this. Some establishments were not allowing certain people to come in, right? And that's just discrimination based on whatever they decide. So I'm not so sure. I think that if you are willing to put up a commercial establishment, I mean, there's some rules, but I'm not so sure you can make up any rule you want. I'm not so sure about this.
God, I don't know how I feel about that.
It's interesting.
I might disagree with you. I think if you put up a business, you have a right to say I don't want to serve certain people. I don't know.
No, I think you do. Yeah. No,
because
but
you're going to lose business.
That's
it's not the best business practice is to do that. You really should do that.
No, I agree with you in that. For instance, if I'm offering a service and somebody comes to me and say, I want you to give me my service, I can say, no, I don't want it for whatever reason I want. But if you have a restaurant, for instance, and that is licensed and it has all these other kind of licenses behind it, whatever, you have the right to have a restaurant, whatever it is that's in the licensing, probably has something to do with how you cannot discriminate unless it's like, no shoes or something like that. I don't know. Some places have certain policies. What I'm saying is like there's different kinds of businesses and some, something like that, like a restaurant, you can't just discriminate because somebody's poor, for instance, or because somebody's not dressed the way you want them to dress. But so, I guess you can because they have these kind of expensive restaurants with dress codes. So
I don't know. How do you guys feel about that?
I'm not saying I think you're right, though.
All the businesses say we have the right to refuse service to anyone at any time.
Right, and I agree with that. And even if you discriminate against a person that's disabled, in my opinion, that's a stupid business move, right? So if you discriminate,
it's bad press.
Of course, if you're turning away money, you're only gonna harm your own business.
Not to mention
you keep doing that.
Not to mention the fact that it's going to get out. Like if you're not allowing people to eat in your restaurant who come in wheelchairs, okay, great, you're doing damage to your business.
You
'cause
look like a
people-
piece of
but
shit. Is what you look like.
Not only do
Right.
you look like a piece of shit, you are a piece of shit. You are a piece of shit for not.
Well, imagine you're
that too.
the only place that has water or a certain kind of food that's imported, or salt, say, for example. And then you say, no, we don't sell for Muslims or black people.
You can't do that in the United States. You'll get your
That
ass
you can't
sued
do.
into oblivion.
Or the wheelchair thing. That
Can't
you'll
do.
get sued for too.
Oh,
Right.
believe
Absolutely.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. No, I'm just saying if you ever did that, it would be ridiculous anyway, because you would not just lose the business of people in wheelchairs, but as soon as that went to social media or got publicized, your whole business would be done. So it's not a smart move at all.
Right. But if somebody wants to come in and act like a jerk, you have the right to remove them from your business.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, in the UK, that's called banning, and I see that happen a lot. Like if people misbehave in bars or some other establishments, if they say something that offends someone that works there, they may be banned.
Here it's called trespassing. If you trespass someone, if somebody comes into Burger King and they're drunk and acting a fool, the business can trespass them, so that if they ever come back, it's like they get arrested because they've trespassed. They're not allowed there, banned, if you will.
Right.
So again,
I guess your own business, you do what you like, right? As long as you don't, I guess, infringe upon these other laws of racial discrimination and so on.
Right, discrimination is something that's not allowed. So that's why you get away with saying I have a medical exemption, because really, Costco can't choose to not serve you because of a medical exemption. Now they can choose to not serve you because you went in there and called them an effing B.
Yes.
that is,
exactly.
That is reason that they can remove you. So I'm just saying, don't go be that person, because then chances are you're not going to make it. But when I go through and I just say I have a medical exemption and I'm just a normal person with my wife walking in there, and they did ask, well, what's hers? Well, she's pregnant. Or what? Why didn't she wear a mask? I said, oh, because she's got a medical exemption too. They didn't ask me what's her reason. That would have been terrible. Did you see this video? We should all have a
Did
problem
you
with
ask
this
the
one.
midwife about that? Whether that's the key? What they say about masks for pregnant women?
I haven't asked her. She didn't require one when we went and saw her.
Mm-mm. How far along is Missa now?
She was due October 4th, and for some reason, the last time we went, they looked at all her paperwork and now say it's September 20th. So I'm not really. I said, can it just
that's
mean
a big difference?
Yeah, it's 2 weeks. I said, can it just be that the baby? I got a big son. Can I just say he's big? But they're saying based on the measurements from the ultrasound, where they do like the detailed measurements, that they think they want to move the date up to September 20th. So we'll have to wait and see. The baby will come when the baby comes, right?
Right.
Yeah, but that's what they said last time. They think that we were off, which requires a whole thing. It's a whole bunch of nonsense, because they were like, well,
there's some interesting.
So she's just
some
starting the
signs that you
second
see.
trimester.
Yeah, she's like 20 weeks or 21 or something.
Later on, Jaron, you're gonna be able to see the placenta well, and when it's close to being due, the placenta starts showing signs of deteriorating. Then you really know it's time to get ready. It's you can tell in the ultrasound, even the mild ultrasound, and it's this white spots in the placenta that start showing, and then the contractions. They start with enough warning that you understand that's coming.
Right, it's time.
I think.
Well, we started feeling some little kicks.
You
so
have plenty of warning.
Very cute.
Oh yeah, you see
Kicking out the
elbows and stuff moving the belly.
But yeah, being pregnant, I would say that Missa should never ever have to wear a mask, just because any woman who's been pregnant knows that when you're growing a baby inside of you, all of the normal organs kind of get pushed aside.
Right.
Everything, you got to make room for that baby in there, and there ain't much room.
Right.
And when they stretch their legs and arms out once in a while, like they do, things happen. So, yeah, she should not have to wear a mask ever.
No, I agree. Super chat from Bo Bond says, all truth passes through 3 stages. First, it's ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. Third, it is accepted as being self-evident. Excuse me. We are in transition now. Yeah, we might be only in transition from the first to the second, though. Did you guys see this lady? I saw this. I'm like, what the hell? Carol Baker, an appointed chair of the CDC Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, but she had a A nice word of warning to all us whites out there.
The battle is being fought. One family, one physician, one health center. That's why we're doing as well as we are. We're talking about the minority and strategies against the minority. So I have the solution. Every study published in the last 5 years, when you look at vaccine refusers, I'm not talking about, well, hesitants, most of them we can talk into coming to terms, but refusers. We'll just get rid of all the whites in the United States. Because Houston is the most diverse city in the entire United States. There's 7 Asian languages spoken in that city. I've been a minority.
Yeah, she goes on a little bit more, but that's real nice of her. So she says that because these people coming across borders here in the United States, they're all okay with being immunized, so they're fine. But if you want to get rid of the hardcore people, the hardcore anti-vaxxers, those who stand up and say, no, I will not take a vaccine, all they need to do is get rid of all the whites. Karen, how do you feel about that?
I feel like I want to set her on fire with Bill Gates.
Don't you love when you hear these technocrats that slur speech and they kind of like sound like they're drunk and they barely make sense and people still listen to them? It's kind of like Joe Biden, isn't it?
No, the refusers.
The refusers.
The refusers.
And she says not the people. What does she say about the people? There's some that we can get around. We can talk to them. What does she say here?
Every study
We can
published
have
in the
them
last
come to
5
terms.
years,
Right.
You look at vaccine refusers. I'm not talking about, well, hesitants, most of them we can talk into coming to.
Not those that are hesitant, but those we can talk into coming to terms. But it's those who stand up and just refuse the vaccines. Those are, and of course we can just watch what Dershowitz has had to say. Our hero, Alan Dershowitz, OJ's lawyer.
Let me put it very clearly. You have no constitutional right to endanger the public and spread a disease, even if you disagree. You have no right not to be vaccinated. You have no right not to wear a mask. You have no right
I love his
to
reaction.
open up
Yeah,
your
this guy's
business.
great. Jason's reaction.
No right not to be vaccinated, meaning if they decide you have to be vaccinated, we have to be vaccinated?
Absolutely. And if you refuse to be vaccinated, the state has the power to literally take you to a doctor's office and plunge a needle into your arm. If the vaccination
Where is that in the Constitution?
If the vaccination is designed to prevent the spreading disease. If the vaccination is only to prevent a disease that you will get, for example, if there's a disease that will kill you, you have the right to refuse that, but you have no right to refuse to be vaccinated against a contagious disease. Public health, the police power of the Constitution, gives the state the power to compel that, and there are cases in the United States Supreme Court. Let me put it very.
Dirt ball.
It doesn't even make
I'm
sense.
not sure he quite understands the concept of civil rights.
Not at all. He's completely. He doesn't understand it at all.
And this guy was Epstein's minion as well. Was hanging out with Epstein all the time.
Yeah, Epstein's lawyer, Trump's lawyer.
Oh, he's a complete piece of shit.
Absolutely.
Piece of shit. Yeah.
You know what's amusing is when these elitist scumbags actually come out and say what they've always talked about behind closed doors, like that chick that you just had on. I mean, you know what's on their minds and what's been on their minds for 150 years. You know, this is these people being real with us finally.
Well, what did that guy say? It didn't even make sense. He's like, you can refuse a vaccine for a disease that's only going to kill you.
He's talking about if you have something and you want to refuse treatment.
But it doesn't even make sense. Like, I don't know. It just sounds stupid. He's an idiot.
Absolutely.
Idiot, satanic, evil, bag of bones, crusty old fart.
Just trying to find this right here. And this is from Jeff Berwick's video. Again, he's doing a great job. I don't know why I find him so funny. And he's been on my show before. He had me on his show. I was interviewed by him. He was on Globebusters once. We're going to try and get him back. Again, he's down in Mexico City. Great guy. But he's just been walking around with his dog and just talking. But he just shows so much good stuff. This is him talking about Gates. But he shows something, again, another clip of Gates I've never seen where he's talking about how we plunge this needle into these children.
Here he is talking with glee. He can't believe it. He's like,
Can you believe we take genetically modified crap and we just shoot babies right in the vein with it?
I mean, and we're taking things that are, genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein.
You can't blame Bill. He's just trying to. Every son wants to be better than his father. And Bill Gates' father was one of the people who started Planned Parenthood in the U.S., which kills hundreds of thousands of babies per year.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if that bothers anyone. And Gates' father was a huge eugenicist, good friends with the Rockefeller.
There's a good picture there of all these guys together. Rockefeller, Gates Sr., Soros, Fauci.
Fellers. And so little Bill, he became the richest guy on earth, but that was pretty easy when you got the backing of the globalists. But then he got hit with a pie in the face. And he just said, that's it. My daddy don't love me. No one loves me. My whole life, everyone's picked on me. I'm going to enslave the whole world and kill everybody. Wow. Meanwhile, he pays for all the propaganda from the mainstream media to put him out and try to show him as like a superhero.
The new Superman and Wonder Woman, the super rich friends, not fighting bad guys, but fighting for good nonetheless. For Good Morning America, John Berman, ABC News.
I think that's called the Legion of
Doom. Yeah, they're just the good club.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of great wrestling news.
Club. It's just billionaires trying to help everyone out in the world. Must be nice just to buy off all the media all the time, and that's basically what he's done. Here comes now they got their masks on. Good job.
Yeah,
good thing you got your mask.
He's doing a great job. He's doing a show almost every day. And let me just bring up this real quick so I can show some of the videos he's done. And he just exposed... Oops, that's not the right... There we go. And he's just exposed this one here, the fake Sky News report on the Mexico City crematoriums. He actually went and...
COVID-19 is all...
Because they keep talking about
in funding for nearly every member.
The smoke never stops at the crematoriums, so he went and actually visited these places where nothing is going on. Just trying to talk to these people. They're just saying, "Oh no, nothing's happening. No, we're not full. You're not supposed to film here." And the great thing is he can speak Spanish. He's obviously down in Mexico City. So, but you should check him out. He's definitely worth watching, and he's done a funny show recently where he's just walking around and talking with his dog.
I was one of them too.
And,
I put on a badge because I'm proud to serve my community.
Just having a good conversation, but I definitely recommend his
impacts,
show.
Obviously, massive. Never before seen in human history.
Did you guys see the Kevin James video? I guess I'll watch that because it's right at the beginning of this. I don't know if you guys saw this. Pretty good.
Mm-mm.
This is Kevin James. You know him from, I don't know, King of Queens. He's in a few movies.
Yeah.
But he's been
Mall
doing
Cop.
Yeah, Mall Cop. He's been doing a couple videos. They're little like shorts. And he did this short video the other day. We'll watch this.
I can't do anymore, Marcus. I can't do anymore. I'm gonna die. I'm too young to die.
This is our life now. This is our life now, okay? We're gonna go on. It's gonna be fun.
I can't go on, Marcus. I can't do this. I'm gonna die.
Why are you shaking my hand?
I gotta run. I can't go to jail. I can't go to jail, Marcus. I can't.
Calm down.
Oh God, they're coming. They're coming.
Shut up. Shut up.
Oh no!
No. Hey, there we go. There we go.
Put your hand on your head, but flat on the ground, not the fence in front.
Oh, hey, Ted. Oh, hey, Marcus, how are you?
Good. We out for a little run?
Hey, yeah, just did 7. Might do another 7, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't want to hold you up. Hey, let's grab dinner sometime.
I would love that.
All right.
You, me,
Good
Karen.
seeing you. Absolutely. I mean...
What's your emergency?
Hi, yeah. I got a couple handshakers right in front of me.
Okay, sir, are they still in the vicinity?
Yeah, I'm staring at them right now.
Run.
So somebody asked if Jeff Berwick was a flat guy. All you got to do is look at his logo here coming up. What does that look like?
For 3 months now.
So yes, Jeff knows the many problems with the globe. He's very awake, great guy, lives down in Mexico City. He actually tried to get me down to move down there a few times. And if you don't know who he is, he's the one who runs the Anarchapulco conventions down there. What they're called? Conferences? I don't know.
Anarchapulco? That's cool, yeah.
Yeah, but is he wearing Tony Stark glasses?
I don't know what he's wearing there. It's pretty fancy.
Is he really Iron Man?
He might be. He might be. Does great work, though. You got to check him out. He's it's just a good show to watch every day. They're not very long. They're like 35 minutes, and it's just him walking and talking, and he's got his dog, and I don't know why I like it so much. But it's good. Definitely. Here comes Greta and other corona lies, damn lies, and statistics. But he's been nailing it out of the park. So anyway, if you're looking for something to watch, he's a good one amongst many other things. What else did I have to show? Let me get this back up. Anybody have anything else I want to talk about? Karen, what's new with you? You found anything interesting that we need to know?
Not since the last stream, no.
Which was like
I've got something
hours
I'd like
ago.
to talk about.
Oh, please do it.
Rose is going to be doing a, let's see, I'll tell you exactly what it is. She's doing an interview tomorrow. She's interviewing her very dear friend from Philadelphia, and his name is Joey Anaruma. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But he was the first original singer of the band Gwar. Do you guys know who Gwar is?
Yes.
His stage name is was Joey Slutman. The Gwar is the one that does all the really amusing costumes.
Meat grinder.
Have the crap
The
pulls, yeah, all that
theatrics.
stuff. The
fake
blood,
blood.
they're jerking off on you, and all that crazy stupid crap.
Yeah.
But he moved back to Philadelphia after surviving Hurricane Katrina and went back to school to become a research archivist.
You got your mask on while you're at
Sorry.
the golf course.
And he recently quit working for NASA. So that's going to be on Rose's channel, Rose 777.
Nice.
She's gonna
That'll
ask
be
a couple
awesome.
questions.
I just find that so interesting that somebody who sang for Gwar also worked for NASA. Like, that's just so random.
It's all
fit.
costumes and makeup and fakery.
There you go. It's true. It is.
It doesn't fit. Where did I see this article? I'm trying to find. Was it this one? Zero. Yeah, another thing that what's his name talked about today.
Rose says that show is tonight, Jason.
Check
She's
these out.
interviewing the
What did I
Gwar
say?
guy tonight, and
Tonight,
tomorrow
okay,
is
it's tonight.
Brian Stavely.
Oh, tomorrow's Brian Stanley. Okay. What did I
Check
say?
this out. I'm gonna post an article here. You guys would like to take a look, Jaron.
Yeah, I'll check it 1 second. But I did see this. He talked about this today, which I thought was incredible. If this is at all true, this is from NPR. It's a list of hospitals that and how much money they've received for Corona. Do you guys see this list? And this is like the Sunny Stony Brook Hospital in New York has had total patients 0, but they've received 155 million. Sunny Old Westbury in New York, 0 patients.
I haven't received any patients either. Can I
University. These are
Can I get
university hospitals. These are university hospitals.
Field hospitals around the U.S. go unused. The Army Corps of Engineers has contracted with private companies to turn convention centers, other sites into emergency field hospitals. Federal spending totaled more than $660 million. Most of these facilities haven't treated a single patient. Some haven't even opened. Others have closed but could reopen if there's a resurgence. This data is some of the biggest projects in current as of Monday. It's just crazy. I mean, McCormick Place is Chicago hospital, 37 patients. They've received $65 million. But I mean, look at 4 of the top 5 have 0 patients and have received this kind of money. The Colorado Convention Center received $35 million. That's ridiculous. And then all these says not yet complete, but you still got Miami Beach Convention Center was given $25 million, Sherman Hospital $18 million, Westlake Hospital $16 million, Metro South $14 million. These are how much. So Javits Center is the one that we all heard about, right? Which supposedly had 1,095 patients. I never saw Javits Center filled with anybody, and they received $11 million. But to think that some of these hospitals have received $155 million. But again, it's really nothing when you think about NASA, who gets $62 million a day.
Which one of those was the one rescuing the children from the tunnels?
That was the. It was supposed to be the Central Park one.
Right?
Yeah.
Karen,
Is that what it was?
Karen, trust the plan, man.
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah.
What are you doing?
That's the one that they were talking about. Because there was a guy with dirt on his body. And
they're going to
he must have been
drag
coming
Hillary
with
out any
tons.
day. And the other video I keep seeing people post is the one that Fauci has been indicted. But then, was it you, Karen, that found you found something from like April 20th that said the same thing? Like,
yeah.
Hurry up. What's taking so damn long?
Mm-hmm.
I see those videos all the time. They're just, I don't know where people get some of that information, or this is what
I've
happened
been
in this court
hearing
case.
about sealed indictments for 2 years.
Right. There's always these sealed indictments.
Well, longer than that. I think it was ever since Trump got elected.
It was
because
before
he was
that,
saying
weren't
that he
you-
was going to put Hillary in jail.
I heard
right?
Hillary was going
That's
to
what he
jail
was saying in the
before Trump.
During the election.
Yeah.
This is all that QAnon nonsense that, man, I'm so tempted to try and I don't feel like wasting the time though.
Right.
But I want to do like a Q is bullshit thing. You know, it's just like, come on, guys, enough.
You should. Seriously.
You should. People need
Well,
to hear
it
it.
needs kind of like the
done.
mud flood thing. I think the mud flood is complete bullshit, and people like, oh my god, they jerk themselves off over this mud flood thing, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think when it comes down, it's whenever something has some good to it, like, okay, so Q is talking about we were going to arrest these pedophiles. These guys are pedophiles. We're going to take him out. That people just gravitate to that, and they just want it to be true so bad.
Because we know that kind of bad shit goes on.
Right.
So they're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, but.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I just
the
think
one good thing of the whole thing is that it made that come out in the mainstream. Now people are waiting to see something happen because they're furious when they see what kind of stuff is going on, right? So it is like a ticking bomb.
And what would fix it all, though,
It's
is
like
a true media, true investigative journalism would expose this stuff. But of course, when
you like that guy Veritas, or?
Yeah, exactly. But when you own all the media, then you're set. You can just keep
That's
doing
right.
evil, and you can get away with everything. Why? Because nothing of that will ever reach the news. And even if it does reach the news, then the mainstream news can just come out and call it, oh, this is nonsense, this is a hoax, this is a flat earther saying it, whatever they need to do to get around it. It's just too easy. And that's how these guys have operated forever.
Yeah, the mainstream news media only exists because it takes money from pharmaceutical companies, big companies, and then governments. Because otherwise they're totally obsolete. And now they got a big kick in because of this pandemic. And they were totally becoming more and more obsolete. Right? There's, the BBC, for example, should have been totally dissolved after Jimmy Savile scandal.
Oh my God! I can't believe that. I'm disappointed in you, United Kingdom. You let this man destroy how many children's lives? We probably don't even know.
We'll never have an idea.
Mm-mm.
And your main organization that spoon feeds you your news every day and ruins Doctor Who. You're okay with that? You're okay with it? Disappointed, folks.
What is this article you're showing me now? It says that kids would rather be YouTubers than astronauts. Did you?
Yeah, that's what my friend Greg from Australia sent to me. He's one of my patrons. Thank you, Greg. And this is quite cool.
Nowadays,
That's hilarious.
hip American kids are more likely to say they'd rather be a famous YouTuber, according to a Lego-sponsored survey. Asked 3,000 children to rank their preferences of 5 different jobs. It's an alarming sign of how attitudes towards scientific frontiers have changed across generations. Well, all the times that we've been to the moon, I'm shocked more people don't want to go there. It's ridiculous. American British kids gave each of the 5 careers the same rankings. Vlogger, YouTuber beat out teacher, professional athlete, musician, and astronaut. So astronaut got last place? I love it. I was afraid it would get second or something. Oh, wait, but in China, astronaut was the most desirable job, with 56% of respondents saying that's what they wanted to be when they grew up. It's just probably so they could get out of China. That's probably why they said that. All the other jobs required them to stay in China. They're like, if I'm a YouTuber, I have to be in China. If I'm a teacher, if I'm a professional athlete, I'm a musician, I want to get out of China, so I'll be an astronaut. Get me the hell out of here.
Well, make fake hillbilly teeth or be an astronaut.
Being an astronaut's hard.
Good article. Thank
You know,
for
that's
that.
probably actually what it is. It's not that people don't have imaginations anymore. As I'm not talking about any conspiracy stuff, just in general. That shows you how freaking wussies these kids are these days.
Yeah, they want to sit and play video games.
But you think they want to be? You think they should want to be astronauts? Then?
Yeah, or something besides sitting on their ass in front of a computer.
It's what we're doing right now.
That's true.
I'm informing the masses of the intellectual truth here. I don't know what you're doing.
I say that's a good thing. I'll say it over and over again. Karen doesn't have to go out. She can just inform people from her house
With a mask.
But Karen's stocked up. That's why she doesn't need to go out. Nobody's coming on her land. She's fine.
She's stocked up with masks?
No.
No, there's no masks allowed here.
No, she doesn't. If you come on her property with a mask, I hate to tell you, you'd probably be
might be getting shot at.
leaving in a bag.
How am I supposed to see their face? They had a mask on.
Right.
They were dangerous.
How was I supposed to know that was my neighbor? I had no idea. Oh boy. I just had a couple other articles, but not much else after that. Oh, and what else did you... Oh, no, you already said what you wanted to talk about. Was that it? No, you said you wanted to talk about something to do with the law, didn't you? Jason, or no?
Oh, yeah, we've been revisiting the law stuff a lot lately just because of all the nonsense going on. So we recorded an episode with Alphonse. It's coming out. Might be a little late because Crow's tied up a bit. Saturday, maybe Sunday or Monday, depending upon how long it takes us to finish that up. But we're definitely looking to figure out exactly what can and can't be done by the actual law, not the nonsense they tell us is the law. And did these governors overstep their bounds? And of course, the answer is yes. And what can we do about that?
Oh, excellent. That's kind of plays right into what I was just going to show. That this is an article from today. It says, Judge positively scorches Ohio health director for criminalizing gyms, and it's glorious. So even the judges are coming out. You can read this article. It'll be included in the show notes, of course. But it says, a judge in Ohio on Wednesday issued a preliminary injunction prohibiting state health director Amy Acton and the Ohio Department of Health from penalizing gyms that open for business or members who visit them during this ongoing pandemic. It says gyms were closed as they were deemed non-essential. The state recently eased the COVID-19 restrictions on many gyms are scheduled to open on Tuesday, albeit with limited class sizes and strict social distancing requirements. But it says in a scathing 9-page decision, Lake County Common Pleas Judge Eugene Lucci said Acton and her health department for exceeding their authority, said they exceeded their authority, saying the director has no statutory authority to close all businesses, including the plaintiff's gyms. Acton, the judge said, has acted in a impermissibly arbitrary and oppressive manner without any procedural safeguards. Judge Lucci went on to say that fundamental liberties, the right to own and use property and earn a living, are at stake in this case. Acton has criminalized lawful businesses, imposing strict liabilities for violations, including severe criminal, civil, and equitable penalties. The judge opined, noting that some of the plaintiff's businesses will not survive the lockdown 2 or 3 more months. Indeed, Acton's sweeping orders, if violated, come with stiff penalties. Anyone caught disobeying an order of the Public Health Department is subject to 90 days in jail and a $750 fine or both. And then it says, here we go, this is good here. Constitutions are written to prevent governments from arbitrarily interfering in citizens' lives and businesses. On that front, the call to action is clear. The governor and health director may no longer impose their own closures and regulations and writing their own criminal penalties to enforce those regulations and closures. So, and then it goes through some court cases that basically says that they don't have the right to do what they've been doing. Again, they can come on TV and they can tell people what they what they recommend they do, but they've turned this into not recommendations but requirements, and that's the problem. Many people have acted as such. So, and of course they have to, right? Because they've heard, if this barber got fined $70,000 and this barber got put in jail and this salon owner had this happen to her. They're very good at putting out those news stories so that people are scared into compliance.
Yep.
So you guys are going to be checking into some of the ways that we can get around that, huh?
Yeah, we're probably going to do another episode with Alphonse very soon because he's really good at pushing pushing back against the government's. The big thing with him is get it out of the local stuff, and they want to get it into the federal because apparently there's just a huge difference, like with jurisdiction. I don't know the entirety behind it, but that's the whole point of we're going to do this episode so that we can talk about all this stuff. But the whole point is, and Wisconsin actually, I think it was Wisconsin, was the only state that actually did something about it. Their state houses said, "Hey, by the way, you overstepped your reach. Start opening stuff up now."
Absolutely, and that's the goal of tomorrow. If people head out to protest, that's my whole goal, is just to get them to realize that they've overstepped, and really hoping it doesn't happen again. And it doesn't need to happen. If we kind of go back to the Duck Dynasty guy, what he was talking about is so true. I mean, they don't even have enough jail cells for everybody. So you could, if we all just stood together. Now I know many people are afraid. Even I don't want to be arrested. When I go tomorrow, I don't want to be arrested. So I'm trying to show people what's going on with these police, and hopefully people can start to understand, and then we can stand up together and stop it before it happens. Because tomorrow they're going to do the same thing. They're going to try and back us off, even though it'll be private. I mean, even though it'll be completely peaceful, they're going to try and back us off the steps down to the sidewalk, and it'll be the same scene, I'm guessing. Don't you guys think? I don't think it'll be any different. They'll have to do that.
It'll probably be the same. Actually,
Yeah.
I bet you they
Or bigger.
already have barriers set up when you get there now. Yeah. That's what I think. And Rose says, listen to episode 113.
Okay.
Which one? She knows all these and I don't.
I don't know. She said it a couple times. I'm guessing it. If not Sunday, please listen to Crow episode 113 in preparation for what?
Oh, it's probably the last time he was on.
Yeah, I think it was
I
Lost
think that was
Stuff.
the other Alphonse one.
Yeah.
Yogi's Beer sent a super chat, says, charming elements, forbidden knowledge. Please Google this. Satan's plan for world domination. Charming elements, forbidden knowledge. Okay, Google this. Satan's plan for world domination. Grab your popcorn, buckle up. Thanks, Jaron. Big shout out to Ginger Sugarbush 905. Yes, obviously. Have to shout out Brian. All right, so that's...
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how different it is when you go there tomorrow. But my prediction is they're going to have things like set up so you can't get close to the doors of the Capitol.
Yeah,
I think you're probably right about that, because they would have learned from the last time what it was like.
Yeah, and they're going to have probably riot police with their gear ready to go, too.
You're probably right. And they'll probably try and keep everybody on the sidewalk then. Although, yeah, it makes me think, if they did do that, I think that they'll want to show some force. If they do put up blocks and then have people on the streets, they have no reason to really show any force. I wouldn't think.
No, but I'm not saying like you're going to show up and there's going to be riot police there. I'm saying off-site, they're going to have that ready to go.
Right.
And if things get hairy, they're going to show up faster this time.
No, and you're making me think, though. I mean, if really, so this is an interesting thing. So last time they said the problem was everyone was on the steps. They were, and they wanted to push us back to the street. So really, this time, I'm wondering, if they really were smart, wouldn't they just have gates blocking everybody from going on the Capitol grounds and only allowing them on the streets? Boom. Mission done. You wouldn't even need police to push everybody back. But I bet you when I get there tomorrow, they will have people gathering, and just so they can show force. We'll have to see. It'd be interesting to see. Because I think that would make sense if they really cared about not... I mean, there was... I don't know how many people there was. I mean, how many police were there? Hundreds. 300 police, I guess, or more. And
That's
we're
insane.
paying all those guys just to, every 5 minutes, take a step forward and stand there and look tough and look like they're going to eat you. Yeah.
It's like what you said earlier, dude. It's a show of force.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. So I'm hoping that, and I didn't really get to see much video from the other ones, but if you are going to another one, take some video so we can see it, because the news just pops on a quick piece and calls everybody crazy and says it's all Trump people there, which wasn't even the case. But again, that's
always an excuse they use.
Oh,
man.
yeah. That's what they're so great at, right? It's always the pinning the 50% against the 50%. It's a bunch of racist bigots at the open up. So Now you have they blame everybody on the right. The people on the right want to open the country. The people on the left want to keep it closed. They love that.
Well, they got to get you into a box. That's what they always do. They
Right.
have to get everything into a box so they can spoon feed it to the masses.
Right, and then it makes 50% hate the other 50%, and then you find yourself having to even put yourself in one of those because you're like, well, they're talking about me. I'm somebody who wants to open up the country. That means I'm on the right. They just love to put you in that box.
How long did that thing last, by the way?
It was about 3.5 hours, I guess.
That's pretty good.
Or 3 hours, yeah. Because the police were only taking like one step every 5 minutes to back people off. But, I mean, it was probably a good half hour. I was there a half hour before. So a good hour of peacefulness and no issues at all. You know, the people were on the steps were just sitting there with their dogs and having a good time and eating a little lunch on the grass. Everybody was just having a fine time. And that was the most appalling thing to me was it wasn't like people were there spray painting the county, the Capitol or throwing tomatoes at the Capitol. I mean, that'd be something where I'd be like, I don't know if we necessarily need to do that, guys. Like, that's not really productive.
Were people? I saw that people started like crowding around the Capitol, or they.
That happened when the cops came out.
Right.
So the only reason that anybody started gathering was because the cops lined up there for no reason. So basically to say they were going to push people away. And you could hear the cops talking to the other cops on a megaphone telling them, that we're going to step them off. We're going to step them back. We're going to push them to the street, line up, blah, blah, blah. So people started getting upset at that because nothing was going on. There was no call for that. So I'm going to try and show that a little better.
When they finally pushed through, they were pushing through the people who were barbecuing and sitting around and just hanging out in the park, right?
Say it again. Sorry, I was reading a super chat. What?
Well, at the end, when they finally started pushing through, they were just through the crowd with the riot gear, right? Going through the people who were picnicking. That's what you're seeing. Like people were not even crowding close to the Capitol building.
No, because they were going to push everybody back to the sidewalk. Because it was people were having too good of a time. There was blankets out, families out playing frisbee, picnic blankets, having food, and yeah, those people had nothing to do with it. They weren't even close to the Capitol, 100 yards away or so. But then they started stepping people back all the way till they got to the street. At that point, the crowd kind of dispersed, and that's when I left. So I think that they'll try and do that again. Otherwise, I think people will just keep showing up. It'd be a big old party. We'll have all kinds of fun. But we'll have to see what happens tomorrow. Johnny Walker says, I wear a mask for work because it's required to feed my family. That's the hard part on. That's happening everywhere. Those are people, I can't even say those people cucked because I understand the problem. I understand that people can't be fired for... It's different when I say don't cuck when you go into Costco rather than don't cuck when you have a job. I mean, it's just tough. Tough situation. I don't want to tell anybody to...
Yeah.
It's a tough one. Doing my part to ask my customers questions and get them thinking. That's great. I mean, you do the best you can. But they've done that all over the place. I mean, I think all businesses that I've been to, at least in California, again, I can't speak everywhere else, but all businesses are required employees to wear masks. Is it the same where you guys are at?
No.
Yeah. People have asked me about what to do, and I'm like, look, I can't tell you what to do.
Right.
I mean, be grateful you have a job, I guess, is one thing, but it's really got to be a personal decision. If you want to make your stand with that, I mean, it is your livelihood, and that's a tough one.
Yeah, it's tough.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to be somebody to ever say anything that's going to cause anybody to lose their job or anything like that. I understand that you need that. You have family. You have to put food on the table. I understand. I get it. In a perfect world, it'd be like, no, screw them. Tell them no and go get a different job. But we know that's not the easiest thing to do, especially if you've been in a place for a while. I mean, it takes me back. I mean, I was making $90,000 a year or $85,000 a year before bonus as a store manager for a drugstore. And I had to stand up for what I felt was right. I didn't like working for CVS once I became CVS. I hated the industry. I hated the way that they treated customers. I hated the way they treated employees. And I said, okay, I'm going to try and do this on my own. And man, did I get slapped in the face for it, because I thought, I'll be able to open up a bookstore with all these books I own. I'll be able to do online marketing. And I learned real quick that opening up a web store isn't as easy as I ever thought. We can't realize, oh shoot, how do you advertise? How do you get people to go to your site? It's a lot more difficult than I ever imagined, and we made like nothing. I went from making 90,000 a year to 10,000 a year. It was a slap in the face, but I feel like that I came out better for it. I don't ever look back and say, oh, I wish I would have stayed at CVS. I've never thought that for 1 second. But I understand where people are coming from. It was a very tough decision. And if I would have known at the time, because remember, I wasn't awake at the time. I was really becoming out of that job because I didn't like the industry. But if somebody would have told me, Jaron, you're only going to be able to make $10,000 a year doing what you think you're going to be able to do, I probably would have stayed there. So it's tough. Like I said, I never look back and say, oh, I wish I would have stayed. But if things were different, if I would have known what road was ahead of me, maybe I would have. But I feel better for coming out of it.
I'm glad you did.
Thanks, Karen. I'm glad too. Definitely. I can't even imagine what my life would be like today if, being a manager of a CVS right now, going through all this and having to tell my employees to wear masks. And I would be that guy kicking people out of CVS for not wearing a mask. That would be me.
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine what a difference?
I know what I'd be doing if I still worked for Guitar Center. Listen to how ridiculous they're being.
Okay.
It's every employee. Well, first of all, they've reduced hours, and this is something I'll get to in a second because this cracks me up. I don't get this at all. Everyone has to wear masks and gloves, and only 3 people are allowed to come into Guitar Center at a time. So there's a line out the door since they're open now. People wanting to buy crap. Only
Which
3
Guitar
allowed
Center
to
is this? Is it a big one?
All of them.
What?
Mind you,
massive
Guitar Center's
stores.
headquarters is in California, but yeah, every Guitar Center in the country. Guitar Center is limited to the United States, by the way. As far as I know, there's nothing out of the country, but so that's every state, and everyone that comes in must wear a mask. So I'm glad I'm not a manager there anymore and have to dictate those terms.
You'd be doing the same
If you're
thing.
testing a microphone, you have to sing through the mask.
Absolutely.
Kind
and
of
play
funny.
guitar with gloves and stuff.
Now, what I don't get are places that are allowed to be open, like coffee shops and things like this. This is something that's been pissing Rose and I off. It's like they're allowed to be open now. They're still having reduced hours and not letting you come into the store and sit there, even though you're allowed to do that now.
Right.
If I was running a business, why on earth would you not want to encourage to start making up a bunch of the money you just lost? I don't understand any of these business decisions. They're not good business decisions.
They're not at all.
Because that business owner still thinks they're going to get the Rona and die.
Right.
Get the Rona.
And they don't want to be responsible. They don't want to end up on the news showing, the news shows these places, right? The news goes out and says, look at this bar that's allowing people to just gather here and they're going to be causing more sickness. Well, the people who own those coffee shops, they don't want to be on the news like that. That's how you lose your business.
You remember the thing that Ito showed, right? When he was in, the guy in the morgue said he didn't believe the corona was real. So, the foot in the morgue.
That's good to hear.
Remember?
Yeah.
People. The kind of thing that people are being told. If they're not, at least critical and questioning of authority. It's that you're gonna kill your family. And
So
it's pretty
wait,
scary.
the guy who said that he didn't think it was real, he worked at a morgue. Is that what you said?
No. Ito showed in the beginning of the show. Ito showed
it's like a
in
graphic.
Argentina. They're having posters to freak people out. Posters. If you're walking on the street, they have a poster saying, "What are you doing on the street? Do you want to kill your family?" Or they have different kinds of things like that. Like say, "Go back home," like shaming you on the street. And one of them is like a poster that shows the foot from the dead person in the morgue, with the tag on it. And then it says he didn't believe Corona was real.
Oh,
Go
okay.
Home. Yeah.
So ridiculous.
So stupid. So dramatic. It's like, what do they got? Like the novella actors running the freaking stuff over there or what?
Yeah, it's a great
You
way
remember
to
the
describe
novellas?
It. Absolutely. It's a great way to describe it. It is all over the top, like nonsense. I'm so happy I didn't watch the news this week because I didn't have to see people acting. It feels so bad to say it too because they just all are such actors. It's all this fake empathy. I think it's gross. And it's overacting. It's so obvious to some people. I don't know why only some of us can see it. I don't know what happened along the way where you kind of like branch off the tree, right?
You mean people in general in the mainstream news when they speak, I mean, that kind of lack of sincerity and how the whole thing is an act.
Yeah,
is that what you're saying?
Even the people they interview, the stores that they go to, the business owners they talk to. It's
so
just
plastic-like.
So yeah, it's the same thing with all these celebrities coming out, right, and saying, "Oh, you got to wear a mask, you got to do this, you got to do that."
One thing
so
that's
fake.
pretty interesting is that prosody is how we use tones to la 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 la, how we speak. And when you look at journalists, these people that are on the mainstream news, and you go to many different countries, they all have the same way of presenting information.
Yeah, Jason
same kind of
talks about
intonation.
it. He talks about like the cadence. They have this gross ass cadence. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all the same kind of way of doing things, which is like basically they're robots, copies of one another. It's messed up. And people, like once you see it, like, there's those videos that compare when they were saying the exact same lines in so many channels, right? You know it's being fed from they're not even good enough to twist it a little bit, change it a little bit, as it's expected sort of in the news media. The paper media is to be like that when it's being all kind of controlled anyway. The different newspaper giants would fight to get the news first, but then change it a little bit and then get the little implements so that people follow, a little bit here, a little bit there, and they're fighting for keeping the thing afloat. But now it's even, I think it's just the level of these people, intellectual level of journalists in general, like in the mainstream media, it's very, very, very low. It has been for a long time, and now you have generations of this. So it's incredible. Like anybody who goes out in a library and reads 3 or 4 books would be more informed, depending on what you read. But yeah, it's crazy.
No, the cadence of the news is ridiculous, and they all speak the same, and it's like it's draining on your soul. It's like the guy.
The repetition, right? The repetition is torture.
Oh yeah, the guy on NBC News, and they all sound the same, but he goes like, coronavirus, destruction, deaths are rising, unemployment reaching 40%, worst economic times since the Depression, the vaccination can't come soon enough, Trump refuses to wear a mask. That's how he talks, up and down, up and down. Trump endangering others, not wearing a mask, looking bad for the country. It's like you watch it, you're like, oh my God.
You know what you're reminding me of, Jaron, is you're reminding me of the 2 weeks that followed 9/11.
Right, it's the same thing.
Like I went home and I was obviously not awake.
Right.
I was freaked out, and what did I do? I went home and I glued my ass to the television.
Right. And you heard Osama bin Laden, terrorism coming.
I watched it all repeatedly to the point where it literally gave me nightmares.
Right.
It literally gave me nightmares.
So you have to remember, all the people that are still asleep like you were are doing the same thing, but even on a worse level, because I'm sure back then, didn't you have work to go to? Didn't you have places to go? Now people can't even leave their house. So they're sat in front of the TV, and you have to watch the TV to learn when you can go back to work. What are my requirements today? What businesses are allowed to open? What did my local governor say this afternoon? They're forcing you to even be more fed by this fear.
Yeah, I'm so glad that I'm not. I'm just glad that I'm aware of things, or I was aware before all this started, because I can't imagine believing everything that's going on and having to go through this. I really can't.
Yeah. And see, I'm in a different position than that even, Karen. Like, I was so asleep back then, but all my store manager at the time cared about was business. So, like, I can also see that end of people that are like, when 9/11 happened, he was like, you need to get on the phone, get as many flags as you can, get duct tape, get plastic bags for people to cover their windows, get bumper stickers, get buttons.
Wait, what was that for?
From 9/11, because he just
right after 9/11. That's insane to me. That's like it's like a robot.
Because
we didn't do that.
Well, you know what? We sold all of it. He had me building like end caps of like duct tape and plastic bags, and people bought them. I don't know why.
Huh.
It was
I
like
remember
brilliant
people
strategy.
overdosing on buying patriotic crap right after that.
Right. Everybody had a
flag,
flag.
sure, of course.
Bumper stickers, buttons, T-shirts. And I remember we got all this stuff. I mean, we spent hundreds of thousands, and thinking like this is going to be the biggest flop I've ever seen in my life. But I was being told to do it. And again, I don't know how many times I'm going to learn that I have the terrible business sense. I always talk about it. But everything I ever think is going to be a flop succeeds through the roof. And anything I think is going to be great goes down the hill. It's like I always said, if somebody came to me and told me like they wanted to start DoorDash with me, that we would deliver people's fast food, I'd be like, are you freaking nuts? It's the stupidest business I've ever heard in my life. And sure enough.
How about Uber? You think you could take an Uber?
Yeah. Uber, if anybody would have said that, I'd be like, we already have taxis. What the hell do you mean? People are just going to drive around and take other people places? It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
In their own cars? Really?
Like, why would you want to get in somebody else's car? Well, they might have candy in there. I don't care. Oh, boy.
Oh, Rose just reminded me of a situation that we had last night that maybe everyone will find funny as well. We were getting the best Indian food I've ever had, funny enough, comes from a place that's actually a gas station because they don't have a full-blown restaurant in the area that they can rent, like the space. So they run it out of their gas station. The food's amazing.
Gas and curry.
So last night, what's that?
I said gas and curry.
Oh my god! But anyway, this is so ridiculous. We're waiting for our order, and a girl in scrubs wearing a mask goes into the store, places her order, comes out, talks to her boyfriend, takes her mask off, lights up a cigarette, smokes it, puts her mask back on, and goes back in. I'm just like, priorities. I see.
Oh, I see it all the time. Yeah, because for every day for a while, and we haven't been back lately. Because by the way, I was giving updates on it, and I stopped giving updates. That they had redone our whole hospital by putting a big tent outside and having all the workers outside. And I talked about how we would drive by and they'd be all eating cake in there. One guy was napping, but now they've completely closed down that tent. So there is the tent's still there, but nobody's in it. There is no check-in outside. If you go to the emergency room at the local hospital here, you just go in like you used to. So kind of reminding people of how that went. But there's always, whenever we would drive there, my wife and I would go by every morning just to see what's the latest at the hospital. And there will always be nurses and scrubs out there with their mask on smoking cigarettes, sometimes in groups of 3, 4, and 5. It's like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Maybe I should go back to smoking. Jeez.
Yeah, doctors and nurses, I guess they take a lot of drugs as well. Like, that's what I heard. And I know people went to a medical school in Brazil. They had some sort of concoction that allowed you to overdrink and overdrink and overdrink. So they just drank all night, and they drank this thing that made them not drunk or something, and they kept on doing that. And when they get into these people who are like that, when they get into drug, they are able to catch drugs. They start self-medicating all kinds of things, and they get access to all kinds of things. And
I'm sure they would have the most access. That's for sure.
Yeah, and of course they if they know what it does, and they would use it for recreational.
I don't remember if it was on Raw or in one of my chats recently, but somebody brought up synthetic cocaine. Is that really a thing? Are there like
what?
Yeah, okay, I'm not the only one who was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Oh yeah, there's like a lot of different synthetic. You can buy it online."
Isn't like a Ritalin? Ritalin's kind of like that, isn't it? It's supposed to have similar effects.
You're not going to be able to buy Ritalin online. But I'm talking about they're talking about synthetic cocaine like it's legal. That's what the guy was saying.
I don't know.
Was like,
I wouldn't touch any of these.
No, certainly not.
I never had any desire to mess with any of those weird designer drugs that have been coming out.
No, they're all bad. They're all terrible. But it's like, I was wondering. I was like, maybe more people than I know of are out there on this kind of shit. I don't know. Yeah, I know.
I mean, just go in on YouTube and watch the videos of these people on like bath salts and Flacca or whatever this crazy crap
I've
is.
seen this stuff on Flacca. What is that? Why would that be a drug that somebody would want?
I don't know. All I have to do is see somebody on it to know that I never ever want it anywhere near me ever.
So is somebody out there like going to their dealer like, hey, can I get some Flacca? Is that like actually going on, or is it
like I want to look like I'm possessed and bend over backwards and yell at people and try to eat their brains? Like, why would you ever want to do that?
Miss and I laugh.
No, it doesn't want to look like you just gotta.
It's so bad.
What is that, PCP or?
I don't know what it is, but I've driven by and seen people acting a fool out on their patio or something. And I'm like, oh, that person's on Flacca, because I've seen videos. They act like
Flacca.
Flacca. I don't know. It's just weird. You just look up the videos on YouTube. I mean, it's insanity. People jumping out windows and shit. I mean, it's just crazy.
Come
Yes.
on. But they die or something? Or they getting hurt?
No,
Obviously
I watched this one video where this man and woman smoked it and they were like sitting in their living room and the dude freaks out and literally jumps out his living room window. I mean, like they're on the first floor. He jumps out the window and then the woman like goes and opens the door and looks out the door.
It's very
I don't know.
strange. Yeah, just look it up.
It
I
makes
just looked
people
at
do weird
It's
stuff.
spelled FLAKKA. And you want anti-drug kind of campaign. That's all you
Yeah.
gotta do is watch.
You want to
these
teach your
videos.
children a lesson?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, there's also Crocodile.
Is this the
right?
one
I
with
don't
the
know if
window
you've
you're
seen
talking
that.
about?
That's sadder, but I guess it's all sad. But Crocodile is
like
Are you on drugs? Tell me what's wrong.
Like that.
What's wrong?
They're like zombies.
Isn't this just like the girl we watched earlier?
Yeah, but the other one I could tell
Take her
was,
off the
I could tell
balcony.
it was acting, and this one was not. You could tell they're not.
Yeah, this
acting.
one is not acting. This one looks like she's about to start spitting up pea soup and like
Call 911.
Right.
her head's gonna spin around.
Okay, they're coming.
Jesus. I mean, wouldn't that be all you need to see to like never? That's so ridiculous. But I heard somebody in
Well-
my chat talking about. They said something about the synthetic cocaine. I'm like, what the hell? I didn't even know such a thing existed.
Yeah, I don't think this is if you compare this to the what's her name, the flu shot girl.
No, a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. When you see these people, they're clearly out of their minds. It's not like they're acting like they're out of their minds. They've clearly have lost it completely.
How bad does your life have to be that you think that this is more positive?
You're so right. I have no
Pretty
idea.
bad. But you know what?
That sounds like
Jason?
sarcasm, but seriously.
You know what,
Yeah.
though, Jason? I was just right when you said that, I was having the thought. I'm like, this is what this beast system does to people.
Right.
This is what it does because they've been lied to. They don't know where they are. They're put in a false paradigm. They're enslaved and they don't know it. It's just like that deep down inside of you, everybody at some degree has to have something inside of them that's telling them that none of this is right. None of what is happening is right. Because it doesn't make sense. If you look around, it doesn't make sense what's going on. The wars, the fighting, the hunger,
So
the
why
desperation.
don't more people see it?
Like, it should never be going on. None of it should ever happen. It doesn't make sense. So that's what I think these people end up doing, escaping reality because the reality that was built for them is a big pile of shit.
Right.
Well, it's probably like the video games thing too. Kids don't want to be explorers and things like that. They want to sit in their butt in front of a computer.
Yeah.
It's a product of what's
I
been
mean, in
shown
this
to them.
case, I mean, you never know. I mean, where you're saying like it's always horrible, right? When you see something like this, but you never know how. We don't see anything. We can laugh at it from the distance, but it really is a tragedy, right? That it is. We are in a society that promotes that there are these things available out there and that people can take them. And the one I mentioned, Crocodile, something that in Russia was having a rise of this thing. It turns you into a crocodile. It destroys your skin. It makes you. It's like worse than heroin, crack.
It's crazy.
So
It's
I
stuff
don't
saying you
know.
can
It's-
ship it from China to your doorstep. That's what I don't understand. Is like who watches these videos and like I need that. I need
Why do
me.
people try these things?
I need
That's the
some-
thing. If somebody can give it to you, maybe somebody gave it. I don't know.
Oh yeah, this guy. I've seen this one. It's so bad.
What is going on? They're so weird.
What'd you do last night, man?
What?
What'd you do last night? What'd you do? Hey,
That one seems like a fake one, but I don't know. It's still
It
people
does.
that are.
You know what? They all seem like they could be fake, but these people are on some serious crap.
Yeah. And most of the time they get picked up by the police, so I don't know if they're
No,
faking
I've seen that. Like, there's a horrible film that I kind of regret that I watched when I was a teenager, called The Faces of Death.
Look at
It was
this
this thing. It showed.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I remember
I remember watching that.
You remember that? And there was someone once that took a 8-ball and jumped out of this 5-story building, and they follow him up, but he had fallen in the street and ran another block. but he didn't die. And that was really bizarre. Like, so people on PCP as well going completely, things that at that time, I don't think that, which I don't recommend anybody watching. I don't think that is, and there was a series we watched. I don't know why we watched it when you're a teenager, you're curious about whatever. And it was in the video store, so we watched it. But I don't think it was fake, any of it. They had like suicides and other things, so not good. Not good to that was out there.
I was impressed. I never could watch any of that stuff. I didn't even want to.
I don't like watching that stuff at all. I watched that Daniel Pearl video where he got beheaded way back when, and at that moment I was like, I regret watching that, and I am never gonna make an effort to watch anything like that ever again because it was gross.
Oh, the one
and
I
horrible.
saw recently. You ever seen the one where the guy, I don't know where it was, but he got caught in like I want to say it was like a carpet machine, but he got caught.
Oh no.
Oh man, yeah, I don't know. I forgot where I saw it. Somebody sent it to me as a text or something. Like, have you seen this? Some guy like got caught in a rolling machine.
Oh my God. I saw a video of a woman who jumped from like a 5-story building, and it like was pretty close, and you could see and hear her hit the ground, and it was horrid.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that we watch. People watch these kind of fails. Fails are sometimes funny.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, when
and
somebody's
there's a
skateboarding
line between when you draw the line, and I think there's a discussion that David was talking way back when he was talking about the Three Stooges and all these other shows that sort of prep you into laughing at people getting hurt. There's this whole discussion, I don't know what you think about that, but essentially most of Hollywood is kind of snuff, right? It's like it shows you people getting killed in more drastic and
Right, because
of course
it makes you accept more and more as time goes on.
Yeah.
Or be okay with more and more.
Yeah, and people want more, right? And it's at some point, I don't know, in the 80s, 70s, like if you look at something like Evil Dead, have you ever seen this, like a classic of horror?
We didn't
have you seen Evil Dead? This film, it's when they used to. It was puppets. It was theater. It was funny. It was horror, but it was funny. It wasn't. There was something. Even The Thing, with Kurt Russell, that film is funny, right? It is horror, but it is funny. And then whenever we progress, it started getting more and more into this kind of superhuman, transhumanize, and more violence that just totally in your face for children as well. More and more lower the ages for the extreme violence to come in, the weapons that destroy whole worlds, the terror of the Dark Star, whatever it's called, the Black Star, whatever it is from Star Wars, Death Star is called, right? It destroys the entire planet. They don't care. They just laugh. Poof. That's the, extreme trauma is something that you throw into these massive propaganda things. And, who knows where we are now. We've been traumatized so many times, and I think even for myself, when I think of something, sometimes it's just looking, I don't know, sometimes I have images of violence because it comes from watching films. It comes from so many guns and so much, so much of it being just out in your face. I don't know. I think
it does desensitize you to all that stuff, and you probably, I don't know if you remember, like the whole Jackass series was people getting hurt.
I haven't even watched it. That's
a
little bit more extreme, like that's like fails, but a bit on purpose. Like they got hurt as well.
Yeah, that was big. I guess that was like the 90s. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was 2000s. I think it was 90s. But yeah, that kind of took off. Another thing that could be happening, causing some of this stuff a little early. I saw this article. Maybe Jeff showed this one too, but this one: new WHO guidelines encourage European kids under 4 be taught masturbation and gender identity. So this kind of shit going on. A World Health Organization standards for sexuality education in Europe. A framework for policymakers, educational and health authorities, and specialists advises that children be taught about sexually pleasing themselves and transgenderism before they are fully learned to talk. It says they advise that children aged 0 to 4 are given information about enjoyment and pleasure when touching one's body, masturbation. What a joke. Sickening.
Yeah. Brian and I did a stream on this because they changed the sex education curriculum in California, Jaron. I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but that is, I mean, California,
same ages?
which is where Hollywood is, and LA, and all the pedophiles are, right? So shocking, huge surprise, right? California wants to teach elementary school children how to please their partner.
Wow.
And how to use sex toys.
I'm so happy I'm going to stay as far away from public school as possible. It's such a demonizing, disgust. And then in California too, I mean, the whole talks about all the, all these minors who get emancipated to work in Hollywood. It's like they purposely go out, they find these 15, 16, 17-year-olds, and then they tell their parents, well, yeah, they can make, $3 million a year or whatever on this film, but in order to do so, they need to become emancipated because of the shooting schedule, right? We have a filming schedule, and because of California labor laws, we're not allowed. So then the parents who just want the money sign the children right over. And if they don't, they'll just move on to another child. They don't care. If the parents say, oh, we'd rather not do that with our child, then they say, okay, well, we've got tons of more actresses and actors waiting in the wings, and they bring in all these children at such a young age, and not even, they could be 10. They could be 10 years old. But in order for them to act in a movie, so when you see these actors that are 10, 11, whatever, because it's so impossible for them to shoot the movie, well, that's the story that they'll give. In the amount of time, they have these people sign up and then emancipate their children, and they become basically emancipated minors who have like little, I don't know whether you want to call them chaperones or whatever, but these kids get just sold out like nothing. So it's something I would never let my child be in a movie or go down to Hollywood or be in commercials. It just never. Not when you see what happens to these people. They all get just destroyed. But yeah. So the California law now is going to be even younger for them to be taught gender identity. Is that what you're saying? And
it was like 4th and 5th graders were being taught how to use toys, how to use prophylactics, how to please their partner. I mean, we're talking about
backlash, right, from parents?
Oh yeah, there was, but and I didn't keep following the story, so I don't know if they kept it. But I mean, they passed it. They had literature already printed for it. They had the stuff all laid out already. I mean, like it was like wasn't just like we're thinking about doing this. They were doing it.
And like it says here, of course, in any sane world, no child of this age should be exposed to any kind of information about sex whatsoever, let alone gender identity and how to please your partner and same-sex relationships and gender identity. It's ridiculous.
Right. And it's like children that age shouldn't even be thinking about sex, period.
At all.
They don't have to worry
they should
about
be left alone
that.
to play with their Legos.
Right.
Exactly.
And if not, that's what messes up all these people. That's how you become a disaster later. Is when you're introduced
they're going to get turned into more of these freaking weirdos that like this tiny minority, like these SJW weirdos that want to inject their crap into everything, and they want to infect the next generation. It's like, no, go do whatever you want, blue hair, but leave the kids alone.
Blue hair.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll put that link in the description as well. So I don't know if I had anything else. I'll have to go through this and see. If you have any topics, guys, you can go ahead and bring them up now before we shut her down. But thought it was a good show today. Talked about some good things and had some good laughs, which is important. If you still need something to watch, Karen, what do you have coming up? I know yesterday we had the Veritas show on this channel, so if you didn't get a chance to see that, David and I were on Veritas Radio last week, and so I just kind of did a half live stream, half premiere yesterday. Thank you guys that were there in the chat, so you can check that out. That's yesterday's video. And of course we have Globebusters coming up Sunday. But Karen, you're doing so much work with Brian. Did you know Brian's going to be on the show next week? I don't know if I told you that.
Yes, he did tell me that you invited him on, so that's cool. Right on.
Yeah, excellent. He's doing such good work, and I've been finding myself watching you guys more and more.
Yeah,
so
Brian is busy for sure.
Yeah, I can't keep up with all his channels though. It's too many channels.
Well, he only has them all because he bounces around because he'll get a strike on one and then he goes to the other.
It's a smart move. I mean, I had people asking me the
God
other
forbid
day.
you talk about something
But
real.
isn't that how he gets
Right.
kicked out of YouTube, though? Isn't that what happened to Owen Benjamin, Jared?
No, I think you're okay for well. It wouldn't do it once you get very big.
but
yeah.
Owen had much more attention. Brian's channels are much smaller than Owen's channels. Not that it won't. I'm not saying it's never going to happen, but so far,
right.
Knock on wood.
And that's
tone
why
of voice really matters. That's something Crow and I figured out, and why we do the things we do, the way we do them now. Owen is bombastic, and
Right.
doesn't give a fuck, to be blunt. And
No, he
that's cool,
doesn't.
and I totally respect that. But I think that probably didn't help.
That's
No,
Brian.
Right, and if he was doing Owen numbers, I bet you he'd be getting
Yeah,
paddle on
I
his
think he's even a
behind
little bit
more,
more
too.
crass. He's more crass than Owen for sure.
Yeah, but
It's
yeah, I don't
when
know
you
what
get to a certain
happened
number.
exactly. Owen got banned, right? And then he created a new channel or something. It was a bit more of a problem. It's not just a strike.
No, I mean I think the YouTube
Right.
rules is pretty specific that say if you get banned from live streaming on one channel and you live stream on another of your channels, that then they can just terminate your account. So I think it's a way that they've done that. It's it's a way that they could terminate to anybody's account at any time. That's the kind of thing about it. But if they want to get
that's
rid
the
of
right to refuse service thing.
Right. So if they want to get rid of somebody's account pretty easily, I think that's a good way for them to basically trick you, because you don't have any strikes, so you think everything's hunky-dory, and then all of a sudden maybe they tell you, okay, you got a community guideline strike, so you can't live stream. Then if you go over and live stream somewhere else and they find out, they just shut down all the channels connected. That's what happened to Owen. So he didn't have like 2 strikes on one channel. He didn't get a bunch of warnings. He just got one little strike, told them they couldn't live stream, and then he just went to another channel and live stream. But that's why I have a lot of people asking me, like, why do you do a restream of this on DLive? And it's just because I'm trying to build the followers over there, right? Because
it's a good idea. You should keep doing it for sure.
Yeah, it's just because the inevitable is going to happen. I don't know if that's in a week, a month, or 10 years.
You just don't know. Well, that's why we do it too.
Yeah, I don't know when. But when I do, at least people will be able to find me. People will know, oh, yeah, Jaren streams on DLive. And they'll be able just to find me easily, and there'll be followers there. It won't be like you have to start all over, right? It'll be kind of like, okay, well, here's this. It's going to be a lot less. But, I mean, we all know that the amount of subs you have doesn't have anything to do with your views really anyway.
No, nothing.
No, I mean, it's and I've heard people try and say that means you're a fake channel. Oh, this guy's got 150 subs, but he only gets 5,000 views. Sometimes that's all that you get. It's just, and we've already learned with Globebusters that obviously they're lying about views anyway. We just learned about that this past week. I don't know how we had over 2,000 live viewers, right? When we've never had that many on Globebusters.
Yeah,
so
they totally lie. That's one thing we noticed right away starting DLive channels, because it was
Right.
like, how are all these people here already?
Well, have you heard this? And I don't know if this is true, but somebody told me if you watch a show on YouTube and you're not signed in, that it doesn't count as a view. Is that true?
I don't think so, because there's
no.
a stat for that, right? There's a stat
No, because
for people who...
there's a stat for there's a stat for people
sub
who
and
are not
non-sub.
subscribers. I don't know if
Right.
they don't. If there's a stat for people who don't.
not signed in.
I don't know.
Because that would explain it if that is true, and I don't know if that's the case. There's somebody told me that in the email. I think this week said something about. I think that if you watch YouTube, they've tested it. They said if you watch YouTube and you're not signed in, that it doesn't count as a view. But they said, but when you go to DLive, they think that if you're watching on DLive and you're not signed in, it does count. So they said maybe that explains the number discrepancy. I don't know. Could be true, but I haven't tested it, and they didn't show me any evidence. They just said they tested it. I don't know if that's the case or not. A view should be a view, but who knows?
And
I agree.
DLive, isn't it live viewers that it counts, right? It's 2,000 live viewers. So those are more anyway. And it was more by a significant amount.
Yeah, well, basically what this person was saying is if there's 2,000 on DLive and it only showed, say, 1,200 on YouTube, that it meant that the other 800 weren't logged in. That's what the email was basically saying. Again, I don't know. Just they were trying to explain it because they said, you and Bob were talking about how YouTube's numbers aren't right. Here's the thing about YouTube's numbers, that you have to be logged in. So they said maybe it is keeping track of real numbers, just those people weren't logged in. I don't know. Again, I would have no idea. That's just what they said, and I was just asking if you guys had heard about that at all. Because I don't know.
I do want to say one thing before the show ends, that Modern Day Debates reached out to me to do a debate, a flat Earth debate, and I don't do debates ever because for me there is no debate. But I replied and I said I want to debate Professor Dave, and Professor Dave declined because you know why? He's a big old weenie. So everybody should go to Professor Dave and tell him that he's a chicken because he is afraid to debate a girl.
He's a little weenie. And then, but Austin's going to do a debate
He'd probably
Monday.
get tilted, right? He would probably go on repeat like those guys that debated Austin. It's quite painful to see their reaction is funny. They just repeat themselves over and over and over and over again. It's the same thing.
Well, it's such a big difference between that and like what Rose has been doing, where you're having a conversation with somebody who's open to just hearing about it. They don't have to believe it, and they just are like, yeah, well, let's talk about it. Let's have a chat. Debates are so ridiculous because those guys have had their mind up. They're not going to change it no matter what. That's just the way it is. And people might say, oh, but flat earthers are the same way. It doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? We did believe in the globe. We did. Yeah. We did change our mind. What are you talking about? We are saying that you have no stake in the game to change your mind at this point. You've gone off on flat earthers forever. Making channels, making money on it. I mean, these guys are never going to actually... You think Professor Dave wants to actually think about it rationally or ever even consider that he might be wrong? No. I mean, we've all considered that. We've all went through that process of saying, God, am I going to make a channel and talk about this? I mean, we've all gone through that. They haven't. But, yeah, so and then you said that... did you also ask... Did I see you sent a message that you also asked Simon Dan?
Yeah, then I asked for Simon Dan. I'm trying to get the biggest globy channel I can possibly get.
Nice. He won't do it.
No, they won't do it.
He won't do anything unless he can film it and edit it with his, sit there and...
I know.
He doesn't even do
allowed
anything.
To sit there and...
Does he even do anything live? Has he ever done a live video? I don't even think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's a big difference between somebody that's just able to just sit there and talk rather than... I'm going to edit and piece this together and make it seem like I'm really funny when I'm not, and have my cool accent and my, hundreds of thousands of subs and people that love me.
They just cherry pick some ridiculous. They cherry pick and lie. Essentially, is what they do, or they're really dumb. Not even. It's especially in the case of that whatever Dave guy. Yeah, like some people saying in the chat, he's a king of cringe.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
terrible.
Yeah. All he does is just say a bunch of snarky insults. He doesn't offer anything of substance as most,
I can't watch it.
As all of them. I mean, it's just...
It's unwatchable.
It's aggression. It's a kind of aggression, right? People like that when it's aggressive. It's kind of the debate. The problem with the model of the debate is that it is adversary. And it's very hard to set it up so that it isn't. And I've seen it done. I've seen it done in a very good way, but it's very rare. And you're not going to find it in this with YouTubers that they're out there screaming their heads out like these guys, or just lying like Scripna and Dan. And it's like it's that model of the Don Pettit model, right? An idiot, Don Pettit's more of an idiot clown. Chris Hadfield is a clown for children, and then you have the ones that are very confident, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, right? And then these guys probably model themselves after those. Like Neil deGrasse is very boastful, very forceful. Pettit is kind of retarded, I guess you can say it. And Simon Dan is more modeled on Pettit, whereas Professor Dave is more modeled on a Neil deGrasse Tyson type of thing, right? And people are just kind of probably all attuned to falling in for that, I think, through the mind control of the whole thing. And the aggression gives them a sense that they're more correct, right? You see that a lot even within Flat Earth, of course.
Bob just messaged me that he still can't stream on Globebusters yet, so I don't know what's up with that. Even Karen, remember you were saying that you thought it too was just a week, but it looks like they're holding us to longer for some reason.
Oh, really?
Yeah, still can't, but I mean, everybody knows where to find it now. D-Live on Sunday. It'll be probably on both mine and Bob's again, or Globebusters-FE. Maybe we'll make another little short video or something just to tell people. But if you can't find us Sunday, because we still can't. Again, we only have one copyright strike. It's for something 3 years old or 4 years old, as Bob said. And we thought that it's only a week ban, but it's been longer than a week
or something.
Well, yeah, it used to be back in the old days. I mean, this is years ago that it used to be 3 months, but I thought that had since changed. And Iru had said that he got a copyright strike and only couldn't live stream for a week. And then Karen said the same thing, and I've heard other people say the same thing. But
yeah, it used to be 3 months because I remember that was the thing when
right,
everybody was getting porn bombed on their live streams, and then they'd get reported and they'd lose streaming for 3 months. That's why everybody was doing it, because they knew they'd be down for 3 months if they got busted.
Right, and it happened to me numerous times, and for one of the times was because somebody put a fake screen name and then subscribed to my channel. I used to have things scrolling across the screen like this person subscribed, but then I learned not to do that. I mean, that's why you have to slowly learn how to make sure your channels don't get shut down. These are little things you have to take, because a lot of people have
make funny names, right?
Right, they made basically curse words or racist things, and then it would show up on my screen, and then somebody would report it, and I went down for 3 months. So,
hey, do you guys want to do it on my channel?
Do what?
Do you want to live stream through my channel?
Oh, I'll have to talk to Bob. I mean, that's what we were just talking about. The only thing about that is I'm wondering if this is a trap, because if they catch you doing the stream on another channel, I don't know if both would go down.
Well, wouldn't it be just that I'm running it off my channel and just calling it Globebusters? And you just tell everybody to go to my channel for that particular one?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll talk to Bob about it. I mean, that's...
well, let me know. I'm happy to help you guys.
Okay.
Well,
last week...
Fuck
week
them.
Really. Last week we did it on DLive and had more viewers than YouTube. So...
I think Bob sent a shout-out saying that he was going to be on DLive, send a link or something. Is that what he did beforehand?
Yeah, and I mean, the good thing was what we did is we just streamed on DLive and then uploaded it to YouTube. So the video's still there. I mean, that's the good thing. Now, I don't know how long this video today will stay up after they got rid of last week's and a couple numbers before that, but we'll have to see. I'm not sure how that happened. That's why I named today's Friday Lounge number 2727. Just see if they can even... I mean, there should be no AI picking this up. But again...
Right, don't put anything in the title.
Nope, I didn't put anything in the title. I didn't put anything in the tags. But the sad thing is I think at a certain point you get put into a certain category, and then they just watch everything you do. So.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at. Like, all my stuff defaults to not monetize. Like, I'll do a live stream and they won't let me monetize it before it's live.
Right.
After it's done, then I can...
Because they already know.
Yeah.
Right. They're like, oh, it's this girl. It's Karen B. don't
like,
allow Yeah. Yeah, and the same thing happens to me. The weirdest thing is that if somebody copyrights my stuff, so I play a video or something that gets copyrighted, it tells me on there, and maybe it's just it doesn't inform you then when this happens, but it'll tell me that that person's getting monetization. Okay, that's fine. But then if let's say I challenge it or it gets it released or I mute the song or whatever, then immediately it goes to you're not allowed to monetize this, and even if you question it, then it just sits there. So I'm wondering, well, how did the other person get monetization before? Or is it like they also get a listing saying, you know what I'm saying? So if there's a song I use in my video and they claim monetization, do they get some notice saying, well, you got monetization for this, but the video itself isn't eligible for monetization? You know what I'm saying? Does that make any sense? I'm probably confusing the audio. I just don't, when people, because it seems like they're getting monetization.
First they're saying, okay, you took this piece of something from somebody else, they get the money for it.
Correct.
Then when you dispute it, they're saying nobody gets the money for it.
Right.
Then.
Right. Like, you want it back? No, sorry. No, Jaren videos don't get monetized. That's how they come across. But if it ever shows, like, for instance, let's say on my Jeranism Raw show, I don't know why, B.O.B. at one time told me I could use all his music. Oh, yeah, no problem, dude. Yeah, I use it all. And now every time I use, and it's in the intro music, it's like in the comebacks from the break, he monetizes every video I do. So sometimes I go back and I take it out by muting it, right? But then it says, once I mute all his music, then it says this is not eligible for monetization. But before that, he was getting it. So what sense does that make? Well, why is it okay for him but not okay for me? It's kind of a joke. But that's the way it goes.
Stuff is all mixed up.
Yeah, what are you going to do? All right, let's say our goodbyes and head out. I'm going to get some lunch. But Karen, you have anything coming up you need to let people know about?
Yeah, I got some stuff coming up with Brian this weekend. I have some solo streams that I need to catch up on after being down for a few weeks. So part 2 of Gateway Program is coming up soon for me. Also still doing Strange World with Mark Sargent on Tuesdays and Unveiling This Realm on Thursdays.
Busy. And Rodrigo, you have anything coming up or just being dad?
Being that and doing a bunch of other things. Yeah, I have a bunch of things coming up. Working on some music we're gonna release. Gonna show it on probably stream. Do some other streams as well. Some spacecraft stuff. Some videos already lined up for analysis. And try to and maybe some stuff to some focus streams where I can actually look at one thing. Because what usually happens is that I go on for 3 hours but it's nice because I'm having some really nice conversations. I guess nice, but with my some of my patrons, and there's one person that works in Hollywood for the last 25 years in many blockbusters with the audio part, and he has given the answer to what's the microphone in the ISS being a kind of prop that they use. And he sent me a letter and said I could use that. So I'm going to probably talk a little bit about that as well. So that's cool. Some people helping out with the conversation, going in kind of my own direction. That because I reserve the right of being wrong like everybody else, and to be searching and asking questions all the time. And I want people to think for themselves. I think that's more important than me having an argument that people have to agree with, if you know what I'm saying. And the idea I have is to share then the tools of what I call the analytical tools of social sciences and other things in philosophy, ancient, different languages and so on, comparative method with people so that they can do their own thing. That's been my kind of directive going into this. Right, and I think Jaron really understands sort of where I'm coming from. I think of everyone that I talk to, it's the one that got a really good grasp of what anthropology is, right?
Absolutely. So I think it's important, and I probably didn't know a lot about it, but then really recognize it for what it is and think of it as a pretty special science, and definitely more grounded than the theoretical nonsense that we're thrown around and called science. Right? I mean, here's an atom, and here's what's inside the atom, and the atom is the smallest thing there can be, but here's what's going on inside it. Yeah, sure, okay, I'll believe you. It's a much different kind of science than that. And last but not least, I don't think, is Eero gone? Yeah, Eero's gone. Jason, what's coming up for you guys and going on this week?
Yep, next episode on Crow 777 Radio is with Alphonse. That will hopefully come out Saturday. If not, it might be a day or so late. Sunday we'll be doing, of course, the Crow 777 live stream. And if you want something to do tonight, Rose is, of course, doing on her channel, Rose 777, with her friend who was the original singer of Gwar. That's at 11:30 p.m. And tomorrow she's going to be with Brian Stavely, and I think they're going to do all things Mandela. So there's plenty of stuff for you folks to do.
What's that, 11:30 Eastern you said tonight?
She just said 11:30 p.m. We're in Central.
Okay.
Well, when I go to that to the stream, it says 11:30 p.m. and I'm Eastern, so I think that's right.
Yeah. Okay, 11:30 Eastern. All right, we'll check that out for sure. And yeah, next Thursday I've got obviously Globebusters, like we said, but check out DLive for that. Maybe we'll put up another little short video just telling people to go there before, if we can't live stream, which is starting to look like is going to be the case. As far as next Thursday, I've got an interview with Al Morentin. I don't know if people have heard of him. He's spoken before at the Question Everything conferences, so we'll be getting to talk to him about CBD and some other things. He's a fitness specialist and owns a few gyms and wants to talk about CBD, and he's done some great work. I watched his presentation from Question Everything about cannabis, so it'll be good to have him on the show. So that's coming up, and then again, of course, Monday, Raw, with maybe David and maybe Jason and maybe Rose. You never know who's going to be there. So, all right, any final words, guys, or is that it? We good?
Good. Thanks for having me. Good being here.
It's always awesome to have you guys on. Thanks, Karen, for joining. And next week on the show, we'll have Karen's partner on here. What do you call him, your partner? What do you call him?
Co-host. I guess we kind of did make a partnership or co-host.
There you
we
go.
kind of did buddy up.
Yeah, because we'll have Brian Stavely on, and he's doing great work, so we'd love to highlight some of that and talk to him. If you want to support the show, patreon.com/jeranism. You can send a tip to Venmo at Jeranism, Cash App at Jeranism, or $, whatever it is. Or you can mail me something if you want. P.O. Box 3044, Merced, California, 95344. And that's about it, guys. It's been fun. I remind you to do your own research, because when you do, you'll never again believe what you've been taught. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Till next time, this has been Jeranism. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.